Welcome to the Off 199 podcast. We are your co-hosts, Jay.
MusiqNerd.
And Dap.
And we're just a few Miami boys who love talking about South Florida sports and want to bring it to you. So, without further ado,
Off 199 starts now.
Hey, what's going on, Off 199 fans? It's your boy MusiqNerd, and I am back with the usual crew. First off, back with my usual co-host, Jay. What's going on? Congratulations again on getting married, my friend.
You're.
I got Nick in the building.
Yo, what's up?
And my boy Ajack.
Yeah.
And my boy Jay Salt coming back to help us out with this one.
Wow. I'm back, guys. More back takes and seminal news.
Which leads us into we're going to be going over our NFL preview today. Even though the Cowboys and Eagles have already played, really doesn't change much of the preview. And we will do a week one college football reaction. Hopefully we'll be able to get this out by the weekend starts. So first things first, we're going to go over the Dolphins preview since this is a South Florida podcast. I'm going to start off with Jay on this one. So best time of year, of course, NFL is back. College football is already back. So let's get into the Dolphins preview. Hot seats galore, in my opinion. McDaniel, Hill, Tagovailoa have huge years ahead of them, one way or the other. The season is a crossroads for the team. Will they sink or swim? I want the season predictions. Let's start off with you, Jay. What do you think about the Dolphins this year?
It's the Dolphins are tough this year. They could either go like 11-5 or 4-13. It's that volatile. I think our front seven is good. I'm not sure about our back four. We have great receivers, of course, but we have the O-line to protect, to give enough time to actually get downfield. We have a banged up running back room. Looking at the injury report today, we were down so many players in key positions. Yeah, it's not going to be a good year. Mike McDaniel is going to get fired this year.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, he's going to get fired.
Damn.
Because
All right.
for him to keep his job, I feel like he needs to win a playoff game.
And they don't see that on the horizon
So
for the
you
Dolphins.
think he gets fired regardless?
Say what?
You think he almost gets fired regardless?
Yeah,
Like they can make the playoffs and still because you don't think they're going to win a playoff game, right?
Yeah, because now the ownership's going to allow, we need to change the culture. We're good enough to get to the playoffs. We need to take the next step. We need hard nose. We need toughness. That's where the next coaching hire is going to turn to.
Mm-hmm. Hey Jack, what's your opinion?
I mean, it's the Dolphins, so you can't really expect some smart decisions to be made. But
True, very true.
I agree with Julian. I think the front seven looks good. It's probably our best in terms of like trenches. It's probably been like the best team of like the McDaniel era. That's why I always have like a different opinion about the Dolphins or whatever like that. It's kind of like yeah, McDaniel ain't perfect, obviously, but like it's hard for me to get mad at him when like the trenches been like hasn't really been a running game, haven't really been able to stop the run. It's kind of like I blame more of the front office more than I blame McDaniel for like any failures that's happened like over the years or whatever like that. And nothing, just bad luck, especially the year that we played Kansas City in the playoffs. So I don't think he should get fired, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get fired if we had like a bad year. Because honestly, real talk, we can slander Tua to hear him back, but if Tua's healthy, it's a guarantee like 8 wins. That's just the reality of it. Like, so I mean, we'll see though. I mean, I don't have high expectations because a lot of the big names are gone, but I think we'll be decent, like around like 8 or 9 wins. That's like the floor to me, honestly, 8 wins, because I feel like we've improved at places where like it kind of guarantees you that amount of wins. I feel like the O line's the best we've had. I feel like the D line is the best we've had. Kind of feel like the linebacker core is probably like the best we've had as well. The only question marks is obviously like the running back room and the back four. And honestly, that's important because it's a passing league. And another thing is like we've been complaining about the run game, but now our running backs are kind of like banged up and stuff like that. But I've always been of the opinion of it doesn't really matter, especially in the NFL. Like, good running backs are like kind of like a dime a dozen to me. It's more about the line. It's more about like the offensive line. Like, yeah, we may not have like the explosive plays or whatever like that, but just being able just to get the yards that are presented to you, that like is just to be able to like get the yards that are like there. I feel like any running back that's like on practice squad or is in the spirit of us being able to get them, I feel like they can do it with how good our offensive line is supposed to be. So yeah.
All right.
If y'all offensive line is supposed to be good, why are y'all so down?
I mean,
I mean,
it's just hard. It's
it's still
hard
a
to
lot of
get.
ifs.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of
didn't
ifs
say they
here.
were good.
It's hard to get excited
And there's
about it.
supposed
Like,
to be, oh yeah, and then there's no depth, Nick. So like if any of that first five get hurt, it's back to being ass. So
All right, that's fair.
but I guess like you put like a lot into, like, y'all know, you put in a lot into a team, and then you see like them going in a direction. It's always been my problem with the Dolphins and with the Chris Greer era. You feel like they're going in a certain direction, then they pivot without really explaining why, and then we're going in a totally different direction. So for me, I do think the Jalen Ramsey trade, I think it was necessary. You get someone back younger, Micah Fitzpatrick as well, even though he had a down year last year because he was hurt. But at the same time, you're not sure what that leaves you with as far as the corners go. So that's why defensive backfield is a question. I agree with Jay and Austin. I think that the front seven is probably the best it's been since McDaniel's been here. And I definitely think that a lot of things that have happened with the way this team has been constructed has been outside of McDaniel's control because of Greer. Like, Greer did not pay attention enough to the offensive line over the last couple of years. And we're going to see how it happens this year. Like last year, he literally famously said, like, y'all are more concerned about the offensive line than we are. And then, 2 games in the season, we lose our quarterback. And the thing
I
is,
remember that. I remember that. That was wild.
how this team goes, what this team needs, the most valuable piece, no matter what you want to say, is going to be Tua. When Tua's healthy in the McDaniel era, and actually since Tua's taken over, when he's been healthy, he's won. When he hasn't, Dolphins have not. So being as your quarterback has to be healthy, you have to make sure you invest in the offensive line. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing? So for us, it's hard to get for me, it's like I do think the floor, if Tua's healthy, is 8-9 wins, but if he's not, then the floor can fall out and McDaniel can definitely lose his job. So, I mean, what do y'all think as outsiders looking in?
As
Who are Dolphins fans?
Yeah, as an outsider looking in, I am very curious about the Dolphins, one within their own division. The only team I can see them definitively being over in the division would be the Jets. I think the Patriots present a new problem, although I don't see them being too new or too that much better from last year. But I think they might be able to get the job done, especially on the defensive end. And of course, if you're in the same division with the Bills at this point in time, the Bills are going to handle business. So I just think it's going to be hard. I do think there probably is an issue with depth that will come back to haunt you. Not just at the offensive line, but I actually think we might be seeing some Quinn Ewers because I think out of training camp, he was making some noise. And I think they might want something fresh and something new. A lot of this, I think, revolves around the idea that the window of opportunity for the Dolphins with this group has kind of expired, making the playoffs for a couple years and seeing what you guys can do. And I think the frustration, at least if I were a Dolphins fan, my frustration would be making the playoffs and then having to go to Kansas City, as y'all had to do, or a place that's cold more specifically, only to watch your season come to a pretty grim end. So that's my take. I think getting out of the division is going to be hard enough, let alone making it into a good playoff situation where you are going to be favored or favorable in the matchup, depending on the weather.
Nerd on that. Nick, what do you think?
I think I'm a bit much higher on the Dolphins than you guys are, in the sense that I think the offense will look really good this year. I think this is going to be a big bounce back year for Tua. I think the offensive line is going to hold. I think the injury bug hopefully will not rear its ugly head for you guys. Now, defensively, I have no idea what happens, but I see you guys putting up a bunch of numbers again. I see that offense humming. Maybe not so much balance with the run game, especially if A-Chain is hurt. But I do think you guys are going to put up some numbers offensively. I don't know what that means for you guys, your outlook towards the season. I definitely think you guys can be a wild card team for sure. I think that's something that's very realistic, especially when I look at your guys' schedules. Like, you guys are going to beat the Colts week 1 because the Colts don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't think week 1 – yeah, exactly. I don't think the Patriots are going to be very good week 2. Bills is a loss. You guys will beat the Jets. Panthers, you guys can beat. Chargers, that's toss that up. Browns, toss that up, even though I think you guys have a fighting chance with the Browns because who knows what they're really doing at quarterback. Joe Flacco is whatever. Falcons, you guys can win. I'm not a believer in Penix in the NFL. I don't know. I'm just not. I loved him in college, but I don't know how well his.
We're gonna find out a lot more about him this year. I think
he's gonna have struggles. I think he'll struggle a lot. Is my opinion. I'm not saying he's gonna have a garbage career. He's gonna be a bust. That's not what I'm saying. But I think for his first year starting, he's gonna have struggles.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Ravens y'all will lose, Bills y'all will lose, Commanders y'all will lose. Oof, that's a 3-game skid. Maybe I'll get an upset in there in that 3 games. Saints, you guys will win because the Saints will suck ass. Jets, you guys will pull off.
Yeah, I don't think Tua's ever lost to anybody in the division outside the Bills.
Outside the Bills, the two
never lost.
That's what's crazy about all this.
Really?
Tua has never. It's
That's
true. Tua's never lost to anyone. He's never lost to the Patriots or the Jets. Never.
Yeah. So like the Bengals, who knows what their defense will look like? You guys might be able to pull that away if you guys had the ball last towards the end of the season. The Bucks, if they don't get hurt, they get a lot of injuries too. And then you guys play a Patriots again to end the season. So I think wild card is something very realistic for you guys. I do think that this is a make it or break it season for the team. I don't necessarily agree with blowing it up towards the end of the season if you guys don't do well, but at the same time, I kind of understand it. But my thing is, you guys been playing the will they, won't they thing for how long? How long are you guys going to give an actual coach some tenure to get some things changed in there? So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not really expecting anything smart to happen.
Yeah, so like all I'm saying is if you guys blow this team up, I think that's what would be the mistake. If you want to do a soft rebuild, like maybe get a different coach but keep the team together, that's one thing. I don't necessarily know if all the problems are with McDaniels. I think his offense is works really well. He's a player's coach. I think that's something you need in the NFL right now. But I'm just saying, if y'all blow this team up, it'll just be more losing for you guys.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why I said that he have earned the right to lie to me. Like, it's because of the other organizations in this city, in my opinion, last time. So it's like, would it surprise me if I say Miami could win 10 games, get to the playoff and lose again, and then they will fire McDaniel? That would be that's a very, very foreseeable action. So,
that's unfortunate, yeah.
I'd be pissed, but because I think also, like, the thing is, if you take a chance on a coach like McDaniel, I think you have to go with you got to take the lumps that come along with it. He's never even been a coordinator in this league before. And like I said, I thought it was the right hire then with the results that they had the first year. I think it's the right hire now. But, you get people grumbling when they leave, oh, the players don't respect them, the players don't this, the players don't that. I'll say this, like, they have been, this team has been hovering around getting into the playoffs the last 5 years. So there's a step that needs to be taken. So I'm not sure if it's in the coaching run. For me, I gotta agree with Brian Flores. It's like, look, there's been a losing culture here, and the one thing that hasn't changed is Chris Greer. So I think it really goes off to him. So like Brian Flores, he didn't know how to talk to people, but it's not like he was wrong about what he said when he said that to Chris Greer. So we'll see what happens. But all right, anything else to add on the outlook for the Dolphins? All right. Let's get to the actual NFL preview. I want all of y'all AFC favorites, NFC favorites. I'll give a little bit into will the Chiefs come back down to earth finally? Will the Ravens or Bills step up to take the crown? And I know the Chiefs are losing at the moment, so I guess we'll see about that. or is there a dark horse waiting from the wings in the AFC that y'all think? The Eagles look poised to repeat. They did not look great yesterday, but they still got the win. So how will the Lions respond to the disappointments of the playoffs and losing both their coordinators? And is there dark horses in the NFC? So, Jay, let me start off with you. Is there somebody that you're seeing differently in AFC, or do you think the Chiefs are going to step up and take it again?
No, it's the Ravens year. It's got to be.
You think so? Ravens?
Yeah, Ravens have to go ahead and take it. I'm cheering for Lamar to go ahead and get his Super Bowl.
Right. Let me ask you this. Do you think if the Ravens don't do it this year, they'll never do it?
I'm not ready to say that. Because
my thing is how much tread is on, Derrick Henry's tires.
He doesn't look like he's slowing down on me.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I had him last year. I like him, but there will be a cliff eventually. When that cliff is, I don't know, but it will happen eventually.
Well, maybe it's this year, but still, I don't. If they, I feel like if they see Derrick Henry going on a cliff, okay, we'll just run the ball with Lamar more.
I'm not even saying I think he's going to go off the cliff this season because I don't. But
I don't even do it. That's what I just see happening. And if you see those signs that he's going off a cliff, okay, in the draft I'll give me another running back and keep on going. So I don't think it's their last chance. I do think it's time. I think the Chiefs are vulnerable enough for them to get it done.
But can the Ravens win with Derrick Henry injured or on the sidelines this year?
Yeah.
Yes, I do believe Lamar can win without Derrick Henry.
I don't think so.
That's an interesting point.
I don't think.
All right, so
the way that team is constructed, you need a balance for the run, and it's not always going to be Lamar.
Yeah, but I feel like they have enough running backs on their team to get it done.
They've been able to run the ball without Derrick Henry before, so I don't really think without him.
I mean, their offensive line is very good.
Yeah, I don't think Derrick Henry's phenomenal, but I don't think him. I don't think he stops the train.
So, do you think the Ravens have kind of pushed themselves above the Bills at the moment? I know they lost to them last year.
I just don't trust the Bills. They find any way to
lose to the Chiefs.
No, I don't really trust either one of them. I don't really trust the Bills or the Ravens, because even with you saying that, I felt like they were better than the Bills last year, but they just choked.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Andrews literally fumbled it away.
Because theoretically, the Bills should have had a huge drop off, but Josh Allen was able to carry them because the number one receiver last year was a wash, Mark Cuban, and a rookie, Keon Coleman.
Yep.
So it's kind of they shouldn't be.
They never address their wide receiver issues ever.
Yeah, it's on paper, it's I don't think the Bills should be good, but they still have Josh Allen. So even with y'all saying oh yeah, they don't have Derrick, if the Ravens don't have Derrick Henry, but no, they still have.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm low-key a Josh Allen hater. He doesn't need any good more things to happen.
I mean, it is what it is, bro.
He's already won.
That doesn't make sense, but I'm rocking with it.
What you mean it doesn't make sense? I mean,
I'm on your
I
side.
know him as a Dolphins fan. I'm not so. I don't like. But yeah, hate on him.
No.
I mean, do you really think he's done enough in his life to deserve Haley Stanfield? I mean, just be real about it.
I mean, no.
He did get the MVP.
When nobody knew who she was. That's all I'm gonna say.
One of the most wildest MVP awards ever. How you don't get first team All Pro but get MVP?
Look, I'm not here to.
That's not the first time that's happened, though, Austin.
That's still insane to me, though. I had never seen that.
To me.
I'm not here to argue whether or not he deserved it. I'm here to say it was given to him, and he can relish it. He's earned something, quote unquote. He's earned something. I still think Lamar probably should have took it, but my opinion doesn't matter.
I don't see how you have a season where you throw for 40 touchdowns and throw for 3 interceptions and you don't win an MVP in an NFL season.
I understand.
Not a Madden season, in an NFL actual season.
And we could say Jokic should have won it over Shea last year. And
no, we can't.
No, we can't.
Yes,
no, we can't.
You can try to say that, but at least you could say that his team had 15 more wins than Jokic. The Bills had one more win than the Ravens, and the Ravens beat them head to head. I think this is different.
We're getting into NBA territory, but what I will say is Jokic, already an MVP, has his best season. Averages a triple double, and we're not. All right.
Nah,
But then,
Nah,
but
nah.
I'll say this:
I'm
you
just
take,
saying,
but
I'm not trying to take it away from Shea either. I'm just saying sometimes people get awarded with things because of the timing of things as opposed to whether or not they deserved it. That's Josh Allen, and he can go
I have to
home
give you
to
that point
his.
because that is a good
Hey,
point.
Fair, because Derrick
I
Rose
think
definitely didn't
I
deserve it
think
that
Shy
year.
putting up those
Right.
numbers after he didn't have two big men for the first half of the season
It
was
out with
phenomenal.
Michael
So
B.
yeah,
Jordan, and I got you this this MVP trophy. That's all. That's what he's gonna be able to say.
All right, all right. So
I mean, that's
Jay,
a
you
fair
have the
point, though,
Ravens.
because Derrick Rose ain't deserve his.
yeah, he did.
I thought he
I
did.
know. Not compared to LeBron. LeBron led into every single statistical category that mattered that year.
Nick, his second and third best player were out half the year, and he still got first seed over the prime heat. Yes, he
I
did.
still say,
Yeah, I know.
if
Yeah, I
LeBron
know. It's
wasn't the
15 years
villain
ago,
that
but we gotta stop the revisionist history
would
though. We
have
gotta stop
won.
it.
We got to stop the revision.
You
All
gotta
right,
stop
If
the
he
look,
revisionist
we
wasn't
can
the
history.
villain
discuss.
that year,
We can
if he
discuss
wasn't
LeBron's MVPs
LeBron,
later,
he
gentlemen.
would have won that year.
Yo, Nick,
If he
We'll
wasn't
discuss
LeBron,
hey,
he
we'll
would have
discuss
won
those
that.
MVPs later, but we got to get back on task, guys. Got to get back on task.
When the Bulls and Heat that year play head to head, what happened?
Is
Let's
What are you
not
that
go
talking
back
about?
over there. We
that
can
the
talk
one
about
where
that later.
LeBron? Is that what the one where LeBron tied it 2-2 off
No,
that?
I'm not. I'm talking about like in the regular season. Like, yeah, obviously,
Regular
like he
season, the
beat them
Bill.
in the
For
but regular
those who don't
season,
remember, the regular season, the Bulls swept the Heat. They took all three matchups.
and that matters. Like, as much as people don't like that matters.
Oh, I was thinking about.
And then his own teammates saying, nah, Rose deserves MVP.
So,
All right,
I mean,
whatever.
I get it.
Let's
Hey,
get
I
back
get
on
it. I
track.
get it. I get it, Nick. I get it. It's okay. It's okay.
like I said, let's get back on task. Like talk about the NFL and start talking about NBA MVPs from 15 years ago. So, I mean, Jay, you said you have the Ravens going it. So, does everybody feel that way? Did the Chiefs? I mean, the Chiefs look vulnerable right now. I think the score
Well,
14-3 going in halftime.
I also have the Ravens, but I think the Ravens are vulnerable as well. I think the Bengals would probably be my dark horse, and that's only because I think there's probably an edge that Joe Burrow and that team has for how they performed last year.
I think Joe Barrow goes off again this year.
And
Well, I think he
they
has
have
to for them to be able to win anything because that defense sucks.
Yeah, true.
Just to be clear,
that
Joe Burr.
that defense I thought sucked last year as well, and they still.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they're still be able to
got
win a team because they have such a great offense.
All
I
they
mean,
have to do is win one of their first three games, and they'll be significantly better than last year.
I mean, they still won't be like what they still had a winning record last year. I mean, the AFC North's a beast, but the issue is like when it comes down to it, like when it came to those games they needed to win, like in order to beat, they needed to beat the Broncos last year to keep in the way. They weren't able to do it,
Right.
because you know why? Because the Broncos had the number one defense in the league last year.
I think again, you take off. I think for Joe Burrow specifically, who had, despite their record, had an MVP like season. You improve where you need to improve early on in the season, and you give your team a shot closer to the end. And I think they probably are able to get over that hump. And I see them being a dark horse, one that could come up against the Ravens in the division. I think the Steelers are interesting. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is washed, but who knows? He has some improved receivers. Well, I don't know if it gets much better than
He doesn't.
You know,
Got DK Metcalf.
Steelers would have a losing record. We know that.
I think there's some noise you could make with the receivers that you got. But for sure, I'm excited to see the Steelers steel curtain of a defense go to work. So I guess I am favoring AFC North a little bit, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of action can come out of there.
Well, I mean, I think for me, I think it's that when you come to the two divisions, I really think it's the AFC North. I think they have the better teams. The AFC West, even if the Chiefs take a step back, I think they're better than almost any team there. Now, one team I'll say to look out for, I think the Raiders are going to be very competitive this year. With Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, Ashton Genty, and Brock Bowers. I think they're going to have a lot of offensive firepower. They locked up Crosby. I mean, I think they're going to hurt for Wilkins not being there. I think that their defensive, like being able to stop the run, is going to hurt. But and then also too, well, you can't really count out Harbaugh. Well, no matter what he does in the NFL, he wins when it comes to it. So the Chargers, they're beating the Chiefs right now. The Chargers are going to be something that you have to deal with. So then, of course, and I mean, when it really comes down to it, you have to be able to dethrone the king. And the Chiefs are going to be the king until someone dethrones them. So I think the Ravens and the Bills, even if whatever mental bar they gotta have to get over to beat those teams. So, Nick, what do you think? Because we haven't talked about the AFC South at all, and I'm just like
the Ravens are my front runner, obviously. I just think that team is just primed. They're right there. I don't know. I also wouldn't be surprised if they lost that one game that they shouldn't have. That's really what hurt them, especially in the playoffs. For some reason, he doesn't. It's not always his fault, but the team just doesn't always show up, or it's just that one play that always seems to happen for the Ravens in the playoffs. That's what hurts
Andrews
them.
had it in his hands. He had it in his hands.
Exactly. My dark horse. Well, I think, like I said earlier, Joe Burrow is going to have a fantastic season again. Barring any injuries, he is going to blow up again. Very similar to last year. I think they actually win one of their first 3 games. So I think they make an AFC championship push. But my dark horse for the AFC is the Denver Broncos.
Really? Okay.
I think people are still sleep on them. Now, mind you, I don't think that they have any like superstars on their team. I just think that they're all bought into whatever that.
I think Patrick Surtain's a superstar. I think Patrick Surtain's a superstar.
The defensive player of the year. That's a superstar.
Yeah, I think he's a superstar. I think he's
okay.
I think he's the best cornerback in the league.
Okay, outside of him, yes, outside of him, who on the Broncos are you thinking of?
No, I like Nick Benito. Remember, I had Denver's defense last year, so that's how I was able to get some points. But
I mean, how I think Denver. That's why I think Denver will be the dark horse, because their defense is very, very,
very good.
Very.
They get sacks. They cause turnovers. They return them.
I've never liked this man, but I'll make this comparison for him. I think he gives me vibes of Phillip Rivers. I never really thought Phillip Rivers was that great. Yeah, great of a quarterback. But for some way, he was always slinging that thing and found a way to win. So, I mean, granted, Phillip Rivers never made it to the championship. So I think Bo Nix is just more athletic than him, which is what will help. I think he'll end up having a better career. But I think that's my comparison for the Bo Nix career.
That's pretty high praise, because whenever
it's a compliment.
Phillip Rivers has top 5 numbers all across the board: yards, completions, touchdowns, and all that. Now that's part of the era that he is. Look, that's a part of the era that he was in. But Phillip Rivers has my respect because he played an AFC championship on a torn ACL.
I will never respect Phillip Rivers.
Oh, that's all it takes, Phil, to play AFC.
Hey, look, man, Jay Cutler felt like a little twinge in his knee and gave up when he had a chance to play an AFC championship game. So
I will give Phillip Rivers that. That guy is tough. I will give him that. He is tough.
He's a tough SOB.
He'll play. So, yeah.
Also, he was a pawn in the game when it came to Eli Manning, but I actually want to talk about a little bit more about that later when we discuss some national topics. But I mean, what do y'all think about the Texans? The Texans have won the AFC South the last 2 years. Do you think they take a step forward, or do you think they take a step back? They got some good defenders as well. I mean, Derek Stingley Jr., I think, is the second best cornerback in the league. Will Anderson Jr. had a great year last year. C.J. Stroud won't be a sophomore slump. They have some good receivers. Now, Tank Dell is going to start the year on the injured reserve, I think, but they still got Nico Collins, who's a very good receiver. They can make some noise in there in a very easy division. So it's not like they're going to have like 6 games really where they can say win. Basically, just have to win by basically 5 more. What do y'all think about that?
Isn't there a question dark horse to make the championship run?
Yeah. So you don't think the Texans are a dark horse here?
They will. No.
I suppose they are a dark horse. I give the Bengals more of an edge in that situation.
Okay.
But I think they could make some.
But is the Bengals still the classic role of dark horse? Because we know how good they are and they've made the championship before. So I don't think you can consider them a dark horse.
Well, I think everyone, when it comes to favorites in the AFC, everyone's going to look at the top 3. It's going to be the Chiefs, Ravens, and the Bills. So I think any other teams could be considered dark horses.
I would think by definition be a dark horse because they aren't in the main picture. To crash the
Broncos, I think, are a very good dark horse pick. So the Texans and the Bengals too. I mean, the thing that concerns me, I agree with y'all. I do think the Bengals going to have a huge offensive season, one because I think they need to, and also, but I just like that defense. Just it gives me pause, and the way they treated their best defensive player and then their first round pick. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on, but that like for me, I think like the chemistry on the team. I think it also matters so much. It's not just also the team. I think it's also the synergy that you have from the front office. I think the reason why the Chiefs have been so successful, there's a lot of synergy between the front office and their players. I think there's consistency there. And I think that goes for every sport, but I know we've talked about this in basketball as well. You know, I think that the way that you're able to sustain success is just, you have to sustain success from top to bottom. So, but all right, that's AFC's like basically, you know, our dark horse is going to be the Bengals, Broncos. I know I mentioned the Raiders, but you know, I just think they're going to be competitive this year, and we'll see anything else for that. So let's go on and move on to the NFC. Do we still think the Eagles are the favorites? I know when it comes to dark horses in the NFC, I don't like there are a few probably teams that talk about it in NFC North, but we're gonna get y'all opinions on that. Nick, we'll start off with you. I know the Eagles looked shaky last night, but are they still pretty much a team to beat the NFC in your opinion?
When you look at it, they really are though. The NFC is. I don't want to say they suck this year, but the NFC is a gigantic question mark this year. I think that the NFC has a lot of teams that are on the rise that are improving, like Chicago's improving. Green Bay is definitely improving. But I also think some of the not heavy hitters, but some of the consistencies have questions. Like the Vikings have questions. Let's see what JJ McCarthy is going to do. Who really knows? LA, who knows? You know, what's his name? Matt Ryan, right? Or Matt, yeah.
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford right now. His back is blown, but yeah, he's going to be playing. He's going to be popping pills all season trying to get through the season. What's really left in that tank? And I like Matthew Stafford. But let's be honest.
He almost won the wild card game.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
They gave the Eagles the best game last year in the playoffs.
Came down to the last drive in the playoffs against a.
That was not a good team last year. And they were hurt. We'll see how healthy that they can stay. The Bucks, maybe they're my dark horse.
Bucks are dark horses.
That's interesting. So why is it maybe for the Bucks? Do you think what is the continuity that they have? Is it being able to? I mean, they're starting off the season without Godwin. I think they're going to need him for any type of run. In my opinion,
I say it because the Bucks always seem to have that part of the season where they make a really strong push, where they win like 4 or 5 games in a row.
That's how they win the NFC South usually.
Yeah, but then like again, I always think the Bucks are going to be the Bucks and make a mistake where they really shouldn't have, and they're going to drop a ball, or Baker's going to throw a pick, and then the game's going to be over. Type situation.
That's how they lost to the Commanders last year. So that makes sense.
And I genuinely don't think the Lions. I don't think the Lions are going to be trash, but they're not going to be as good as they were last year. To lose your defensive and offensive coordinator in the season and still expect to be good, I don't see that offense being as good because people will be ready for them. But then again, it's going to be who knows? Because it may not even be the exact same offense. And then San Francisco is going to be San Francisco. I don't know. I feel like they missed their window for sure. For sure, missed their window.
Yeah, that window's closed. I don't.
That window is good.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, they still have pretty much that core now. If Christian McCaffrey comes back, I know he's hurt, like he's questionable now, but I mean that's going to be if you have Christian McCaffrey on your team, your offense is going to be better for it because that's a guaranteed 2,000 scrimmage.
I heard a report that he's expected to play week 1.
Yeah, he's expected to play, but him even being on the injury report, I think, is a concern for San Francisco because his injury last year wasn't supposed to be that big.
Not
he only played 4 games.
Every fantasy league that drafted Christian McCaffrey as well.
It's like holding their breath at the moment. But I'll say this as a person who's had Christian McCaffrey before, Christian McCaffrey on your team and he's healthy, you're probably going to a championship. That's how valuable he is.
I had him and I made it really far in the playoffs 1 year.
Yeah.
My dark horse is going to be Washington.
I mean, all right. So going by your definition earlier, you said that
So you think Washington, the team that went to the NFC Championship last year, is going to be your dark horse?
We know how good Washington is. Yeah, I think
Washington the big 3.
The big 3.
I'll recant.
I don't think I don't think the NFC has a big three like the AFC does. It's really the Eagles and the 49ers.
It really, with the NFC, it's who did good last year, and like
it's the Lions, basically the Eagles and the 49ers. That's who's been good the last few years.
I also feel like Washington put themselves in that mold with their run in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
I don't see them necessarily here's what I'll say. I don't see Washington winning and them and the phrase being they crashed the party fitting, because I think they've been there and they've done it last year and they could come back and do it again.
So you guys are assuming that there's no sophomore slump for Jaden Daniels.
You can assume that, but I don't think that makes them a dark horse because they were there last year. And so, I mean, the sophomore slump, it could happen. It's highly likely.
Happen with CJ.
Like once you get tape on a player, you're able to play better against them. That's just how it works. So, but I don't know how Deebo Samuel is going to work out for them. I really don't. But the whole thing with Terry McLaurin,
he's not going to be any good.
But also too is like what the thing he is. And there's a couple things that concern me about the Commanders. Like one, getting rid of Brian Robinson like that. Also, and then like the McLaurin saga, and then like you said, Deebo Samuel, just I don't know what the hell is going on with him, but it's just like for me, I guess maybe they can end up being a dark horse, maybe because they don't start the season off that great. Maybe that's what happens. We'll see. But I mean, as far as the NFC, it's like I think when it comes to dark horses, there's like also too, it's like even would it be right to call a team that went 14-3 last year a dark horse, like something like Minnesota?
Exactly. But I don't know.
Yes, it will always be appropriate to call the Vikings a dark horse.
That's why I say the NFC is nothing but question marks this year.
No, the NFC has always been nothing but question. The NFC is.
But I mean, when you look at it, though, the last 5 years has been pretty consistent. It's been like basically the Bucks went, and then it's been the 49ers and the Eagles. That's been pretty much it.
But it's always, for me, it's always there's always a dark horse in the NFC that comes in and swoops in. Maybe not as unexpectedly, but it's like, okay, it's supposed to be these couple teams year, and somebody else swoops in and
then the Rams come in, or then the Commanders like last year, and then the Lions the year before.
That's always, to me, that's always been the NFC. Like, you remember those years where it was between the Broncos and the Patriots and the AFC, and then they were just taking turns, either losing one year or like dominating whoever the NFC opponent was. There wasn't any consistency, and that's just how the NFC has always been for me.
That's fair.
Jay, what do you think?
Well, for me, after watching the Eagles last night, I'm kind of scared to say that like they don't look as dominant as they did before, especially their defense. Well, that could have just been the suspension of oh boy, but looked really vulnerable on the back end, and I feel like Jalen Daniels can take advantage of that. I don't see him as a dark horse. I do, but they might come out in the NFC.
So you going with the music? You think the Commanders can come out of the NFC?
Yeah, and you know what else? I think it's probably not very popular, but I think the Panthers are going to win the NFC South.
Whoa!
I think
the Panthers. I think win the NFC South for real.
Yeah, I think Bryce Young.
Actually, that's a good take. It's up for grabs.
His confidence, he's like oozing confidence right now. I feel like he's going to take another. I think he's going to take a step.
That's the darkest of forces, but yes.
All right,
but you say they made it like a pretty good team right now for them. They got a good culture going for them. They went through it last year. I think they needed to go through last year to make something happen this year, and I think the NFC South is coming out of Carolina. I know some of my friends are gonna be really just disappointed to hear that.
Yeah, got a lot of really
fans, but I'm not a believer in Penix. Well, I'll be able to see. I'll see them in person this year, so we'll see.
When you see him in person, we'll get a better read of that. Ajack, what's your opinion on the NFC?
I feel like all right. There really isn't no, because like end of the day, like the Commanders had no business making it to the NFC Championship, but they did. So hey, even with Julian saying about the Panthers could be the Commanders from last year. They sneak up on some people, so it's kind of like a mixed bag. What did I said? What did I think? Yeah, it's a mixed bag for sure. Yeah, I don't really believe anybody in the NFC. Like, ain't really no one like catching my eye. Like, yeah, I'm really excited to watch this team, or I'm really excited to see how this certain team performs, or whatever like that. It's kind of like a mixed bag, man. Honestly.
One thing I think the NFC North as a whole does take a step back. I mean, you had what 3 teams combined for what, like some ridiculous number, like 45 wins or something like that, close to it, which is like an NFL record, something like that. I mean, like you said, like we don't know what's really going to happen with the Vikings. We don't know what JJ McCarthy is. Though I gotta say, if they were able to win 14 games with Sam Darnold, I think they'll be able to do something with JJ McCarthy. Just saying, I don't think so. I do think that Addison being suspended does hurt them as far as their offensive build. But I think Aaron Jones, no matter how old he gets, he finds a way to contribute that team. So I don't think they're a dark horse necessarily, because I just can't call a team that won 14 games a year before a dark horse. But there's someone to watch. But I gotta look thinking more about it. Jay's take on the Panthers. It's like that's really interesting because he's right. I think Bryce Young is gonna have a much better year this year. I saw it last year as he went down the.
I ain't see nobody drop Bryce Young on their fantasy team.
Yeah,
well, look, man. It's still kind of bags of shit that they got going on with around him. But I don't think he's going to make as many mistakes. Like when you look at it, they played both the Super Bowl finalists last year and held them within a score both times. And the Eagles were beating the shit out of everybody last year, but they didn't beat the shit out of the Panthers. They only beat them by 6 points. So of course, we know that the Chiefs almost lost to them as well. I think Bryce Young is getting more confidence as he goes. Everybody is a good receiver and say Xavier Leggett. I think, I just think they're going to be better. But I think this speaks more to the weakness of the NFC South in general. So I don't know I don't know what to really think about the Falcons. I don't know much about Penix. I won't say I'm not liking him, but I think that the Falcons have a couple weapons that set them apart, and Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. I think one of them they don't know how to use. They don't know how to use Kyle Pitts, and until they finally unlock him, I don't know what to really think about the Falcons as a whole anyway. But
he's trash.
Look,
I think he's got plenty of time, but I think
he's going to be better on another team. That's what I think. I know this. The last 3 games, Penix looked for him and Drake London a lot. So if anything's going to happen with Penix and Pitts in Atlanta, is going to be this year. So I think
this man is 6'6", can't catch the ball in traffic and can't run routes.
Dang, that's the University of Florida for you.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, we will see what's going to happen. But when it comes down to it, I think Tampa Bay has had a chokehold on this division, whether it's been Baker Mayfield or Tom Brady. So we have to see what really happens there as well. So but like I said, the Lions I think have nowhere to go but back. You're not gonna get 15 wins again, especially when you lose both your coordinators. Now they have a lot of talent still on the outside. A team that has Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon St. Ra, and Jameson Williams on your team is going to be a team that's going to score some points. But I don't know what it's going to look like. So you're right. The NFC is just a bunch of question marks when it comes down to it. So I do think that the NFL champion is going to come out of the AFC this year. I'm just not sure if it's going to be the Chiefs, Ravens, the Bills, or somebody else. So, all right. Anything to add about the NFL before we move on to the college football, y'all?
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't talk about Green Bay. I think Green Bay could fill in that dark horse spot, especially with the recent big trade, which is fine. I think Jordan Love has been performing at a high level. Of course, they improved defense, and
who's he throwing the ball to?
Doesn't matter. He's winning.
Well, they drafted a receiver.
It matters.
It does matter. It does matter.
Okay, fine. It matters.
They drafted that receiver from Texas,
Matthew Golden.
They're big on him. They're real big on him.
He wears the number 22. I believe
really?
when I. Yeah.
If he was a corner, it'd be fantastic.
Another thing. Yo, they got a former receiver starting for them at cornerback.
But they've always Green Bay has always done that, didn't they? Wasn't Sam Shields? Wasn't he a receiver?
Shields started for them.
They had him play corner. And he
Had
actually
a
played
good career too. There's
Hey,
a lot
man.
of Sam Shield just makes me sad. Anyways.
No.
But Sam,
I got to give that to you. They are a team that they won double-digit games and played very well last year too. They just couldn't beat the Lions or Vikings. That's really their only issue last year.
another thing, Sam Shields, he switched to cornerback in college. He didn't switch to quarterback in the NFL.
He played
He
corner
played his last
at
year.
UM?
He played his last year as corner with UM.
Okay.
So I mean, but that's interesting. But like I said, I think they do take a step back because I think the whole NFC North does. But we'll see when it comes to that. But that is an interesting point. They've competed. They won a playoff game the year before. Didn't win one last year. But also too is like NFC West. What do y'all think about? Like I know we talked about the Rams a little bit. Didn't think about anything when it comes to the Seahawks or anything like that. I don't know. I mean, they kind of completely revamped themselves. They're going to suck, basically.
Seahawks are in a rebuild mode. It look like.
Yeah, they're rebuilding that thing.
I think they're gonna be mid.
But they also lost not Xavier. Who's that other receiver?
Metcalf.
Oh, they lost DK Metcalf.
No, he's talking about Lockett. Yeah, they lost
Lockett.
Metcalf.
Lockett went to the is with the Titans
who's
right
Sam
now.
Darnold throwing to? Just Nick Jigba?
Yeah, Smith and
Yeah.
Jigba.
Oh, they got.
I expect him to have
Cooper
a huge
Kupp.
year.
They got Cooper Kupp.
Oh, that's right, Cooper Kupp.
I don't think Cooper Kupp's. Well, we'll see. I don't think he's going to be good for anybody but the Rams.
I think he can still give you 800 yards, but yeah, he's not going to win a triple crown there. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to win a triple crown at this point in his career.
What do y'all think about the Cardinals?
They have.
Marvin Harrison Jr. I figure it out, son. That's all I
think he takes a step forward. You see how he was looking? They're not. I think he has a good year.
I think these are the years.
I've had issue with him since his last year at Ohio State. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, I just think this is like they're like the years of the Saints were in like the doldrums, and then Breeze were just putting up yards with like his top receiver. This is Murray's and Harrison's years to do that because they ain't gonna be on nothing for a long time.
It's almost time for Kyler Murray to be benched. From my opinion, do the Cardinals need to go in a different?
Nobody's talking about like jumping ship on him.
I just don't.
I think Arizona fans talking about jumping ship on him. I just don't think he's made as big of I think that is an interesting point because when you talk about teams kind of abandoning their quarterbacks, Kyler Murray does not get put in that realm. But yeah, I think he's definitely a quarterback you need to talk about jumping ship on. But we'll see what happens this year. But I agree with Austin. I think he's going to put up a boatload of numbers. But we'll see. All right, let's move on to college football. Canes and Noles win big season openers for both the teams, while Clemson and Texas lose huge games. So, does this change perceptions or maybe confirm perceptions for the season to come for y'all? I will start off with, since guests first, I'll start off with you, Saul, on your opinion on what happened with the Noles against Alabama.
I think it's a combination between the Noles taking a very positive step forward and Alabama taking a very definitive step backwards. And I'm perfectly fine with that, especially when the victory is ours. And I just don't. I think Alabama had a very good recruiting season, at least with this next class coming up. But I don't think that translates to passion and zeal that Kalen DeBoer can convey to his players and his team. And I just don't think he has that attitude. I just don't know. I don't think that's his style. I think he enjoys being like a player's coach and engaging the players and all smiles. But I think the players also need to know that if they mess up, they're going to be chastised or they're going to be benched or whatever, and that there's an expectation. And so I feel like there's probably a step back in not just the board, but the rest of the coaching staff that doesn't necessarily translate to effort, that doesn't translate to intelligence, that doesn't translate to many things. And I think that's the product that we saw. On the flip side with Florida State, I think the 2-10 season really had again had the fan base and everybody else in a frenzy, but it was actually, I would say, a good launching point for us to be able to regroup, to double down on who we have in the locker room. We'll get some transfers, etc. But at the same time, for us to really create that culture and then go out and whoop some tail last Saturday.
Okay. Jay, I know you said you had some thoughts on it, so let's hear your thoughts on the Florida State Alabama game.
I want to be clear. It's a good win for Florida State. This is it was a terrible game for Alabama. But rewatching the game and I guess studying film and stuff like that, it was good to see that Florida State got back to like their identity of because they basically played how they played with Jordan Travis. You kind of saw the passion, you kind of saw the leadership in that team back. You saw the discipline in that team back. They're playing for each other again. But then I just started looking at it, like actually looking at the line of scrimmage and how these plays were getting off, and it's like it makes me wonder, like, all right, maybe Florida State didn't plan for this. They have not they look lost and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, if this is the offense they're going to be running, was this game where they put out all the stops, or is it just this is how they play? So I feel like it can be schemed against. So I'm kind of worried for moving forward and see how they navigate the season. They are better. I'm not sure if it's a one game type of thing, or are they really going to be college football playoff contenders? I'm very interested to see that. From what I saw on film, better coaches will be able to scheme against it offensively.
Anybody can scheme against it, though. That's not.
But I'm saying that even in your conference, there's better front seven and better lines to combat, which I showed.
Sure.
So that's my I guess my thing about it. Just looking at it.
All right, Nick, what do you think?
I think we are. I'm not gonna say back, but we definitely have the swag back. We've got our stilo. We've got life. We have a it factor, and I don't mean as in like the it factor that like, oh, we're gonna go out and dominate every single team. I mean the it factor that like this is a team, because if y'all recall, all I ever said last season was this isn't a team. This is just a bunch of people on the field. Like that was not last season was not a team at all. That was just a bunch of random niggas just running around, playing in the dirt, and seeing if they could hit somebody. I'm really excited for what our future holds. I don't necessarily. How I feel about Castellano is I am grateful for who he is as a person. I think he has a lot of personality. He's got a lot of what's the word I'm looking for?
Charisma.
Yeah, he's got a lot of charisma. He's got a lot of charisma, but my concern is when people are stopping you from running, can you throw the ball? I don't necessarily think that's
he cannot.
that well.
He cannot.
Yeah. That's my biggest fear. Like when I look back at that game,
those things, in his passing game.
But
I think
what his career completion percentage is sub 60, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's sub 60.
Josh,
what I'm saying is
go ahead.
What I'm saying is if the scheme isn't working and you need Castellano to throw the ball in order for us to win the game, I don't know if he can do that consistently. I think he is a really good game manager, and I'm not using that in a disrespectful sense. I think that as long as we're only asking him to throw the ball maybe 15 times a game, and we're able to run and we're able to move and he's able to run, we'll be good. But like Julian said, there are going to be other defenses that will be able to slow that down. But I do think that we are good enough on both sides of the ball to compete with anybody in the country. I will say that. I think that this team will have a lot of fight. I don't think that we'll lay down like we did last season, which was so pitiful. We did diddly poo last season. I'm really excited. I'm really happy about the lot of talent. I went into the season not knowing what we had at all because we had 52 new transfers come in. We basically revamped the entire team on both sides of the ball. And I still have concerns as far as recruiting is concerned because we didn't recruit very well this season. We were mid. We were in the middle. We weren't bad. We weren't great. I was on record saying this last season, the transfer portal is a double-edged sword. I think it's working for us this season. I think Norvell really dialed into specific players, or at least that's the spiel he's given us. He dived into specific players in the transfer portal that he wanted. So obviously, as of week 1, it's looked really good. I think Alabama's going to be flat this season. I think they're going to have a lot of talent that may not come to fruition. And I think that quarterback's going to get a lot of blame, but it's not going to be his fault. All the losses are not going to be that quarterback's fault. But
I think he played hard. I just don't think he's very good.
Yeah, I think he played hard. Who? The team
Ty
or him?
Simpson?
What do you think it is? His accuracy?
Yeah, I don't think it's there, but also, I feel like also they didn't really scheme very well to get their best player but many touches in Ryan Williams, in my opinion, watching that game. But
that's true. I don't. And now I'll say that I don't feel like we took him away from the game. I think he himself just had an awful day. I don't know what happened.
Well, I don't think he was that compelling of a quarterback in the first place.
No, my bad. I'm talking about
Brian Williams.
I'm talking about Brian Williams number 2 because he had 2 drops that day, and then he really wasn't getting that much. Yeah, he got hurt, but he wasn't getting much separation even before he was hurt. But I don't take that into account that like we schemed up a good game plan to like take him out. I just think he had a really bad game.
Hey Jack, what's your opinion?
From just because I rewatched it too. Because I was talking to Nick over the weekend. I thought Florida State beat Alabama. I don't think Alabama lost it. I think Florida State took a force to Alabama.
Went out and whooped that ass.
I feel like Florida State just beat on them and they just gave up. Like, and another thing too, like Alabama just looks like they look slow. That's like the first time, and like only other time I ever felt like Alabama looked slow was against Texas A&M in that Johnny Manziel game. Yeah. It kind of like reminded me of that, how they just look slow.
Alabama
thing too, like
average.
I've been tired of it. Yeah, and like another thing too, I really like how like the Alabama fan base responded to it. Whole like, yeah, if Nick was here, like I think we can be real about Nick Saban's tenure. He struggled with these type of like games, like the whole kind of like the slippery quarterbacks and unconventional offenses. He's always struggled with those type of games. He's always lost those type of games. We can be really honest about Nick. Like, you can talk about getting whipped in the trenches. I don't think that happens with Nick, but when like the Alabama defense looked very confused.
Yeah, Nick Saban has coached 0%.
Yeah, and like and I'm not just going to sit here and say that never happened with Nick. That 100% did. Like at least one time a year that happened, especially against Gus Malzahn. So it's like,
yeah, Gus Malzahn
and then like
the
whole
man.
AJ McCarron saying, "Oh yeah, some of these teams have this, it's just basically saying, oh, these teams are spending more money than us, or whatever like that." He's talking about Alabama, by the way. He just had like the first or second recruiting class in the country. He's talking about people spending more money than them. It's just ridiculous to me. I really don't like how they respond to the loss. Like they really responded like sore losers. And
who they responded like? They responded Alabama. Like Nick Saban, how he responds.
Yeah. Like it's not on some like it's not fair thing. They're spending more money than us. We've been spending money like that for years, and then we've been buying. Like, I really don't like the vibe again. But on the Florida State, I do agree with Julian that eventually that stuff that Florida State was doing is gonna get figured out. Because at the end of the day, like the stuff they were doing wasn't super complicated. It was just get you we're gonna try to run up the middle, get you out of position, and then we're gonna throw a reverse at you. We're gonna throw a RPO at you. We're gonna throw this at you. Because like when Castellanos actually had to pass the ball, he couldn't do it. But while they're still probably going to win some games, it's kind of like
he was 9 for 12 that game or something like that. I can't say that.
Like, he didn't have to pass that much for sure. But like, but like, my thing is, I think the defense is really what I think defense is like what like really surprised me. I didn't expect that from you. I I thought the offense was going to get better, but I thought the defense was going to take like a big hit, and I was wrong. So like, kudos to y'all. I hope leading up to all the interstate games, it's going to be a good quality matchup, like top 15, top 10 matchups. I don't see Florida State losing until they play us. So
Shout out to Earl Little Jr.
yeah,
That's Junior right there.
yeah. So
That boy.
hey, I mean, I was surprised that Alabama looked slow, Florida State looked fast, and another thing, I'm just surprised that like Florida State whooped Alabama in the trenches like that, because Alabama has no excuse to get what
Yeah.
they have too many 5 stars, they have too many high 4 stars to get whooped in the trenches like that. Too many, like they have too much talent for it to be like that lopsided,
I agree with that, and that was one thing that was very prevalent when I watched the game too. Is that I didn't really, because like Florida State was one of those offensive line that were mentioned that were going to be high, that everybody was high up on, but yet y'all were able to pretty much do whatever y'all wanted against Alabama. And you really shouldn't be able to do that, the defensive line and offensive line. So I'm excited. I mean, I think I'm excited for a month from now. Hopefully, Josh, you're gonna join us when we all get together and watch the game together in October. But I'm excited for that game now. I'm excited for what happens. So, but is there anything else to add on the Noles than winning big season openers there? All right, let's move on to the Canes. Canes beat my mortal enemy, not anyone else's mortal enemy, but my mortal enemy, the the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So, what is y'all reaction to the game? I'm not sure if all y'all watch, but I'll start off with Nick first, and then go Jay, then go Josh, then go Austin. What is y'all reaction to the Canes beating Notre Dame?
Beating Notre Dame, I was not pleasantly surprised. I was glad to see what I saw, because I think Miami will be very good this season. I was really okay. That's what I'll say. I was impressed with Carson Beck, because I am not a Carson Beck believer, but he looked really accurate that game. He definitely looked like he has a command of the offense, which is obviously good, but that's never been his issue. Really, his issues was his receivers dropping the ball last year, but I've never thought of him as a really good quarterback. I think that he brings leadership to y'all's team, which is going to be really good. I know y'all kept telling me y'all run game was going to be fantastic. I thought it was okay. I think y'all had a lot of big plays in that Miami game, which was impressive. Do y'all think y'all will narrow up the backfield? Because I felt like at first y'all were doing running back by committee, and then what's his name was starting to take over.
Fletcher and
Y'all were
Shamar
starting
Brown.
Yeah.
I think Lyle got hurt, so he ended up leaving. I think it's going to be Lyle and Fletcher. They usually like to use 2-back system. Shamar Brown got more carries because Lyle went out. So I think Brown will get like the change of pace carries that Lyle got last year. But I think it's going to be Lyle and Fletcher going to be the main 2-backs.
And my next comment is, if the Notre Dame game defensively was anything to be grateful for the future, maybe you guys have fixed your secondary issue that you guys had last year. Maybe, possibly. I mean, there were some still big plays that were given up, but the season will go on. You guys hopefully will get better in that regards. But I was actually very pleasantly surprised at y'all's defense. I mean, y'all's defensive line was solid, but y'all's defensive line has been solid for the past three or four seasons. I've always been impressed with it. You guys are definitely getting stops. The linebackers looked a little bit better, especially since last year. I thought your linebackers were trash. But I think there's a lot of good. I think you guys should be very up and optimistic about Miami's season this year.
All right, Jay.
All right. Rewatching the game, I don't want to seem like I'm very negative Nancy and stuff like that. I'm just
here comes the woe with me fans.
it's not woe with me.
If Jay's gonna
I just couldn't help.
It's gonna hate on Miami.
I'm not gonna hate on Miami. They're a really good team. They have all the tools to make a run and deep into the year into next year, early next year into the college football playoff. My thing is, it makes me wonder is like, were they holding back that game? Like, were they holding back as far as scheme? as far as opening up the playbook, were they looking ahead a little bit? That makes me want to wonder, like, because it was very vanilla from what we've seen from Shannon Dawson in the past, in my opinion. It wasn't really like I felt like they didn't have a lot of variation of running the ball. They have a lot of variation of passing the ball downfield. Um, yeah, it just didn't seem like they opened up the playbook. Which am I happy about that, or am I? I don't know how to feel about that because this is Notre Dame. This is not the cupcake team, but at the same time, you're able to do that to Notre Dame not having the playbook all the way open. Maybe that's a good sign, but it makes me wonder what is in store for the rest of this for the first 5 games of the season. Because you do have South Florida, you do have Florida, you do have Florida State. So I guess that's my thoughts about it. I think this is a very good team. I think they will win the ACC. Yeah, I don't see any team better. I don't see a team better in the conference right now from what I saw week 1. So,
all right, Josh.
Disrespectful to Florida State, but okay.
All right, Josh.
Oh, wait. Pause. I'm sorry. There's no way you think what Florida State showed and what Miami showed that you feel like Florida State will beat Miami.
No. Here's why that's ridiculous. Because
it's ridiculous.
Yes.
Please, Josh. Please tell us.
All right, let's hear from Josh here. Let's hear.
You basically just said we have no chance to beat y'all. That's wild.
That not only did he say that,
I stand on it.
You guys had a better shot at winning the ACC.
That means you're out very high.
Miami had a better shot of winning the ACC last year with a Heisman candidate quarterback, but still didn't even find themselves in the championship game.
Not true.
Now you're going to say that we got Carson back, and this is the year that we're going to win the ACC. I just don't see that computing.
This is a better team, more balanced team.
I don't understand the
confusion. Yeah, it's a better defense.
I don't understand the confusion.
No,
like, what's going on?
Because we all know. We all know that quarterbacks run the show in college football.
Well, all right, Josh. One second. I actually talked to them over the weekend about this. The best quarterback in the playoff last year was Cade Klubnik in the 12th seed. Yeah, that's who they had the best quarterback season, besides maybe Dylan Gabriel. They got their ass whooped.
What is it based on? Based off of you talk about numbers?
Based on numbers. Based on effect on team. When it came down to it, Dylan Gabriel, Cade Klubnik.
You're talking about the best quarterback in the playoffs or the best quarterback in the ACC.
Yeah, and like Dylan Gabriel was a Heisman finalist as well and a Maxwell finalist. But when you look at who won, the Ohio State didn't win the national championship because of Will Howard.
No, what I'm saying is that the
quarterbacks boost. I agree with that, but it didn't really happen last year.
Can we break this down? You're saying that Miami this year is going to do what Miami has never.
I didn't say that. I have my own opinions about what happened. But if Miami takes a step
I am
forward,
saying
it won't be because of the quarterback play.
I
say what happened to Miami last year
is
that Miami had a horrible defense, and that's why they didn't make the CFP.
They didn't go
also, there's a little bit of bias there. I think that Miami winning 10 games should have got them into it, but it didn't.
Look, Jay is saying that Miami is going to do what they've never done before, which is win the ACC, and that their best shot, or the closest that they've gotten to tasting even the championship, was this past year, which they didn't even make the championship game.
Well, that's not true.
With a better quarterback.
That's not true.
That's not true. Their best chance to win the championship was 2017.
It's hyperbole. All right, Rocky.
No, you're making a hyperbole. You're talking about what he just said.
I think it's hyperbole that you're saying that you're going to win the ACC, which you've never done before.
Yeah, he said this specifically, but but your thing is you're trying to cut through some bullshit that really isn't there. That's what you're trying to say, Josh. You're making the point.
No, who's better, Cam Ward or Carson Beck?
That's not what he said. He's not talking about Cam.
That's what I'm saying. These are my points.
Okay, then that's your point. But no, what you're saying is
what is the quarterback
point?
What is
how you gonna say it's my point? And then you talk about Jay's point made. Now, Josh, if that's your point, then you make your point.
I will see.
Just don't blame it on Jay. Don't be saying,
December.
Hey, that's my point.
When Miami has 4 or 5 losses and is out of not only ACC contention but playoff contention. My
So you
point
saying
is,
Miami's going to lose 4 or 5 games this year?
I think Miami has always been good for at least a good 3 or 4 losses. The only exception being last year when they had a very exceptional quarterback.
In 2017, when it didn't have a exceptional quarterback.
Yes.
But John, do you think that defense is just as bad as it was last year?
What'd you say?
Do you think their defense is just as bad as it was last year?
Which will bring me to the points that I wanted to make about this Notre Dame game. Thank you, Nick.
All
No,
right, let's let Josh have the floor.
Go ahead, Josh. Because I was trying to give it to him, but then he's like, "Yo, come, hey, go ahead, Josh."
It's wild. Okay, all right.
Oh, is it?
Great win against Notre Dame, my niggas. Great win. Sounds like that Miami is able to overcome some losses that they had and improve in some ways that they weren't performing last year. I still don't think that necessarily translates to, again, an ACC championship or like them. I think actually both teams are probably ranked too high, and it just doesn't compute to me right now at this point in time. But I do think Miami is improved, but I just don't think that they're able to pull it out in the same form. I don't think they're the same team from last year.
I don't feel like any team this week showed that they were better than Notre Dame. That they were light years ahead of Notre Dame and Miami.
Say that again.
Yeah. I don't think anybody.
You didn't feel any team showed they were light years ahead of Notre Dame. Oh, my bad.
Notre Dame or Miami. Just straight off eye test.
That's fine. I mean, that's cool. But like, I think that when it comes down to it, Miami as a culture isn't one where you're consistently getting, 10-2 seasons, 11-1 seasons. That's true. That's just my take on it. Miami has always been good for fumbling close to the end of the game, having a 2-game, 3-game skid. That's just that's the U. So that's just my point. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
what I'm saying is I don't see that.
All right.
That's fine. And I'm saying I think
your point is fair as well.
And now it's time to reset and figure out if you got the culture behind to be able to sustain a successful.
That is a fair point that Miami is good at fumbling ball, whatever, at the last game. My question is, do you think that last year's team, just because of Cam Ward, is significantly better than this year's team?
I think one of the big reasons that they went 10-2 and even had a chance to go to the ACC championship was precisely because if they had any other quarterback, there's no way you're coming back against Cal. There's no way you're winning some of those close games that you're winning late in the game. And I think that's just my opinion on the matter.
Okay,
I would argue that you wouldn't be as down to Cal if Cam Moore wasn't playing.
Say that you wouldn't.
And Virginia Tech.
So you'd still
wouldn't be as down as you were with Cal if Cam.
Well, yeah. If you look at the Cal game, if you watch it,
and I love Cam Ward. I'm just being honest.
Cam Ward's mistakes led to those leads.
But it was also his gameplay that led to you guys winning.
Yeah, his gameplay was able to do it. But really, in those games, Miami should have ran the ball more than they did.
You're saying you don't even get in the hole if Carson Beck or somebody else was the quarterback in the first.
If Carson Beck, probably not. But
you're probably still in the hole, but not as deep in the hole.
Are you able to overcome it? Are you able to overcome it?
At the same time, your point is very valid. Like Miami may not come back in those games with another quarterback as well. So it's but also there's a double-edged sword when it comes to that. But Miami's problem last year was not Cam Ward. I mean, as you can see, the defense. It was the back end. No, it's also putting linebackers, like Austin said so eloquently during a lot of our things, putting linebackers on 4.4 speed running backs going down the seam. That was a big problem that we had last year. Having safeties that ran 4.5s, that was a big problem that we had last year.
I know those.
Ajack, let me get your reaction to the Miami Notre Dame game, and then I will give my point, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Probably the biggest thing from this discussion is that you can't give Florida State fans anything. And I'm just playing. Whatever.
Say what you want.
I'm just playing. Look, I mean, that's the history of Miami like last 20 years. I remember, Josh, you came on here a couple years ago. You was like, Miami's always had talent. And I vehemently disagreed. And because we had 5'10" linebackers and 6-foot defensive tackles. So, like,
so
it's kind of like,
Had
I
to change the
love
roster.
I love
And how I
Sean.
see now, and now look at my roster, and I got 6'6", 5-star defensive tackles, and 6'4", Miami-Dade leading sack leaders on my team. So it's kind of like it's a different, like it looks different. But at the end of the day, that's history. Like we did lose Syracuse, we did lose Georgia Tech, and as much as I love Cam Ward, he definitely got us into holes that we probably wouldn't be in if he didn't play, if he wasn't like chasing the Heisman or whatever like that. Like that Syracuse game should have been won, but he kept checking out our run plays. Like it is what it is. Like I'm not gonna say obviously love Cam Moore. He's probably the best QB in UM history, but we got into a lot of holes because, to be blunt, he was BS. So when I watched the Notre Dame game, and then they they do a little preseason hype thing as they do, whatever like that. And they said Notre Dame is the best thing since sliced bread. And for the most part, we dominate both sides of the ball. I feel like Miami should get a lot of credit. Like that's at the end of the day, that's the national runner-up, and they bring back a lot of talent. They said Jeremiah Love was the next coming of Jesus. He had 33 yards.
And I want to give you your credit. I do want to.
Yeah, for sure. They said that DB room was the best room in the country.
Yeah,
A freshman wide receiver was cooking them. Like y'all, it's like with me, like when it comes to Miami,
I think
it's like
also,
it's like with me and my issue, because like just being a Miami fan, period, it's like they say all these things, they said like these hyperbole things that probably aren't true to your point, but when Miami like when Miami does something, it's kind of like, well, maybe Notre Dame not that good, maybe they were ranked too high, maybe the DB room wasn't that good. Which is probably true. Like maybe Jeremiah Love, wasn't that good this year. He didn't really go off against any good team last year, which is all true. But it's like if they would have lost, they would have been on Miami's head. So it's kind of like you gotta like kind of balance stuff. But like me, like as an overall thing in my lifetime, this the best Miami. Well, since I've been aware, because I was like 4 years old last time we were like actually like really really good. And since I've been aware, this like the best Miami's looked to me. You know what I'm saying? Like from a size perspective, from an athletic perspective, from a body perspective.
really
so I'm just, so like the whole like three. I mean, cool, but like, what do your eyes say? Because like last year, by the time the Virginia Tech and Cal game went wrong, I kind of already knew. Oh, it's only a matter of time before this thing busts for us. Because regardless how I feel about the Cal and Virginia Tech game, yeah, Cam put us in some holes, but regardless, like our defense looked really, really bad. Like it shouldn't, even if Cam throw those picks they threw, it shouldn't have got to that point where like we're down 10 or whatever like that. So, and not like another thing, like when it comes to the playoffs or whatever like that, you got to be able to play man coverage, and I think that we have the corners for that now. We have like 4 corners that we can trust to play man coverage consistently, and we finally have a true nickel. Like the safety play is looking a little shoddy, which is not good at all. Linebacker play is kind of but if you look at the things that playoff teams last year has, I feel like we have a lot of those things. And even with the quarterback, you could argue Carson Beck out of the quarterbacks from last year is probably like top 3 out them. Even regardless how you feel about Carson Beck, if Carson Beck was in those playoffs last year, he's probably a top 3 quarterback in that playoff bunch. So I feel pretty good about that.
Trash.
Look, I think Carson Beck is better than Will Howard. I don't think that's a hot take.
I don't think that's a hot take either. I don't know if he's definitively better, but
I think
he is definitively better.
He was better than the quarterbacks who were in the national final last year. Riley Leonard and Will Howard.
I mean, I think everybody's better than Riley Leonard, but
I agree with that. But that was just my point when it came to quarterback play. Quarterback play can boost you, and it boosted Miami last year to a point where it hadn't been. But Austin also makes a good point about the Syracuse game. There were a lot of plays like Cam Ward was just checking out of run plays. When you look at what happened in the Notre Dame game, when you look at what happened in the Notre Dame game, I think what Carson Beck did not do, and I think why Miami kind of lulled in the third or fourth quarters there, was that he was actually doing the game plan as Shannon Dawson did. He didn't check out a game play; he was running the ball.
And we missed a lot of blocks. We slipped on a couple plays. Like that's just football. That's just like the margins or whatever like that. I'm not too like it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna slip, you're gonna miss blocks. So it is what it is. We won the game. So
yeah, and that's all I really care about. Because especially y'all know how I feel about Notre Dame. And Notre Dame added to my ire last week. If y'all didn't hear like the unintelligent thugs comment, which really pissed me off as a black man and a Hurricane fan. And then, of course, there was like Notre Dame fans still saying, oh, we're not that good. And then there's actually one Notre Dame fan who came out and was like, look, I want y'all to celebrate this now. But when y'all come to see us next year, we're going to whoop that ass. I was like, it's only been one game. And y'all already talking about next year. So, like, I know we had like an argument about Notre Dame not too long ago. It's just, that's why I don't like them. It's the arrogance that they came with. But, still, I digress. Looking at the game, like, for what I felt about Miami, doesn't really change. It doesn't really change my perception of it. I still think this team can get to ACC championship game. I'm not sure if it speaks so much to them being better or so much as the ACC. I'm not sure where SMU really lies. I'm not sure. I think Georgia Tech's a dark horse when it comes to it. But, like, for me, I think that this team, like, I predicted to beat Notre Dame in the season. That doesn't really change. I still have this team going 10-2 and 7-1 in the ACC. I think when it comes down to it, like, we're going to learn a lot more about them when they play South Florida. We're going to learn a lot more about them in Florida because I agree with Jay too. I think they held some things back in the playbook. They got conservative, both defensively and offensively, in my opinion. And what led to it, you have a busted coverage. That's what led to that 65-yard play that got them to try in position. But there still was no panic in the team. I would have liked them to say maybe take a little bit more time off the clock for that last drive, but they still held the ball for almost 2 minutes. But really what came down to it, what impressed me most is that the defensive line, which I think is supposed to be the strength of this team, was able to finish out this game. Get the sacks, get the unintentional grounding that they needed to get. Bang was a monster. Like, he was the highest graded defensive player in all college football. That's what we need. And also we just need the corners to play better. The corners made a lot better plays. Damari Brown made plays. OJ Frederick he got bombed on one time, but he's still able to make plays. I agree with Austin too. They're able to play man this year, which they were not able to do last year. And so I feel better about the defense than I do. I mean, the offense is not going to be setting records. It's not going to be the number one offense in the nation, I don't think. But I still think it has the tools to be the top 10, top 15 offense. So according to pundits, that was one of the best defenses we're going to play all year. So I still think this running game is going to be effective. Because effectively, they still was able to run the ball effectively and get what they needed to get. But, I mean, I don't like that we kind of took the foot off the gas, but at the same time, Miami didn't make any mistakes. And so that's the type of football that I want to see when it comes down to it. So right now, I still have Miami as a playoff team, which I did earlier this year, and I still haven't gone to ACC championship. I'm not sure if I've seen enough from Clemson because I really don't. Like, I don't know what LSU is in that game. I don't know. I don't know if I saw enough to change what my pundits is because I still have Texas as my favorite, even though they didn't really play. Even though Arch Manning did not play very well against Ohio State. But what impressed me in that game, I think, was their defense. Texas's defense. I think Texas defense is going to have them in every game. So we're going to see more about that. But was there anything else to add about Miami?
To be clear, what I want to say about Carson Beck, last year I came on here not being a fan of Carson Beck, and I feel the same way as I did last year. I'm not saying Carson Beck is better than Cam Ward. He is not. But I'm saying that also Miami doesn't need a quarterback as good as Cam Ward to get where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
Two, I'm not saying that Miami will blow out Florida State. I don't believe that. I feel like it's going to be a really good game. I can't wait to go up there in Tallahassee and watch that game. I really do feel like it's going to come down to the last minute. But I'm also saying I don't think we'll lose either. But I'm not saying it's like we're going to just be dragging Florida State like down up and down the field. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think their scheme will allow that to happen.
Great.
But
I also think Norvell's superpower is his ability to game plan. I think Norvell's going to have a great game plan.
Also, does Clemson? Do y'all play Clemson before us or after us?
No, we played with after.
After?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Damn. Okay. Yeah. So that's all I want to say on it. It's just.
But also,
I'm very curious of how Clemson attacks y'all or how we attack y'all.
But also, looking at y'all's schedule, in my opinion, I felt like there were only 4 teams that y'all weren't on paper that y'all weren't going to be more talented than. In my opinion, on paper, and y'all already won one of those games, so anything can happen for the season.
For sure. One last thing and this is related a bit, but maybe one day we should have a segment where we discuss what is it? I just don't think preseason rankings are
I hate
that
them.
I think we should have a segment dedicated to why
Well,
preseason
we can
rankings
we can talk
are.
about it in the national segment in a little bit because I actually don't like preseason
I
rankings
don't
either.
like it. It kind of, I think we need like a good 4 or 5 weeks of eye test before we start to do some rankings. But that's just me. And we
But
can discuss it
I
from
will
there.
say this is like well, they have to find a way to sell games, and that's how that
Yeah.
goes. They have to
For
find a
sure.
way to sell
It's
the
the
first few
drama
games.
of college football.
yeah, because you're not gonna watch a unranked Florida State versus. I mean, you probably still, they're gonna watch it, but
They're both unranked. I'm going into it being like, let's see what we got, as opposed to Florida State beat the number 8, number 9 ranked team, which didn't deserve that ranking in the first place. And then that gives us a rank of 14. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not happy. What I am saying is it's just weird.
Yeah, I agree with that. But
Well,
that's
I think you need to sell tickets, you need to sell matches. So it's like that's something that's wrong, but it's never gonna change.
No, I don't think it will ever change. But I think I see what you're saying, right? There's a lot of hype around, oh, number 1 and number 3, Texas and Ohio State. I feel like you're going to get that either way, especially this year after the playoff season that we just had in college football last year. I feel like you're going to get that either way. It's not like it's not like you need it's not like you need to give rankings to a bit of a storied history like Miami Notre Dame. That doesn't seem like it needs an additional boost.
well, I'll put it
I mean,
like
like what
this.
sounds
Like,
better? Oh, like what I gotta think about like what sounds better?
I
Oh
agree.
yeah,
It does sound better when you're
yeah.
like,
It's
this
not
is the
like a
top
top 10
10.
matchup sounds better than oh yeah, it's the first time they met since 2017. Tune in. Oh, it's a
I don't
top 10
know.
matchup. Like
What I mean, Phil got riled up just because of the comment. That blood boiling is that's
oh,
college football.
but that's the thing. Me and my parents, we're like outliers in the Miami fandom and stuff like that. A lot of Miami fans don't hate Notre Dame the way that we do. So
Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
yeah, it's more of an 80s thing, the Notre
yeah,
Dame.
it's older fans just like Notre Dame. Like the younger, like my brothers, they don't have as much a problem with Notre Dame as I do. So
I mean,
I
I
hate
just
Notre Dame.
I have
I
friends
I was able to convince I was able to convince Nick with facts, so which is something that I love.
Yeah,
That's one of my
I
greatest
hate Notre
accomplishments.
Look at Nick's like, yes,
They
I am.
kick rocks.
You know what I'm saying, but also when I see where you're coming from with it, Josh. I agree with it. Like I actually talked to a lot of my workers about how I dislike it. Like it's with and that's the thing. Like when you look at the top 15, like 10 of the teams are starting new quarterbacks, brand new quarterbacks. So like, how can you really do that? And we talk about how much quarterbacks affect the sport, and that's what basically just had an argument about that. Like literally, like six of the top 10 teams didn't announce their starting quarterback until game day.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard. It's like what are you basing those rankings on? But
Yeah.
but Austin's also right. There's no way it's going to change because they're going to try to put butts in the seats. But
That's a
speaking of
good point.
preseason rankings,
But I got one more thing. Like nothing about the Miami Notre Dame match. Like the only other game that looked like it was obvious that it was two good teams going at it, other than Miami Notre Dame, because I feel like those were two good teams going at it. Was Texas Ohio State? I just feel like Arch just dropped the ball. Every other game looked like you don't know if this team's good or not. You don't know if this team's bad or not. Because I do think Florida State's gonna be good, but I don't know if Alabama's gonna be good though. So it's kind of like I think like Texas Ohio State and Miami Notre Dame were the only games that weekend that looked like okay, these are two good teams that are going at it, like two, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I was in drop with that.
well, actually, no, that was the point I was actually about to get. I was actually get what do y'all think about LSU, Clemson, and Texas and Ohio State after the ways they look. Me, apparently, I like the defense.
I don't know about Clemson. I don't know about Clemson really.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, offensively, that was supposed to be Clemson's strength, and they did not look good against a team that was very shaky defensively last couple of years in LSU. So is LSU's defense that much better, or did Clemson take a step back? So that's one thing. I think Texas and Ohio State's defenses look great, though. I think Arch Manning definitely had a shaky debut at best. So let's start off with you, Nick. What is your opinions on those teams?
Texas and
Ohio State, LSU, Clemson. I agree with Austin. I think Texas, Ohio State. I think you did see two good team players. I'm not sure about LSU, Clemson personally, but do you share that opinion?
I don't think much of LSU. I'll start with LSU because I hate Brian Kelly. I hate him. I don't think much of their offense. No, I don't think much of their offense at all. But what I do think, I think their defense is significantly improved from last year, which I don't know how much that's saying, but it's significantly improved because that defense last year was terrible. Do I think that a lot of people are picking them to compete in the SEC for the championship?
That's Austin's national title favorite right there. So
yeah, I know. There's a few. It's a few people's national title favorites. I don't think they're that good offensively. I don't think they have enough on offense to carry them over a lot of the SEC. Well, this might just be a down year for the SEC though as a whole, and not because of Alabama. I think you look at every single SEC team and there's question marks on their team. So that's kind of my opinion on LSU. I think Texas. So I saw this video online about Texas, or no, not I saw. Ryan Clark had this very good take about
Arch
the
Manning.
Arch Manning, which I think ends up being spot on. Where basically it was like he comes from a small school, played small time high school football. He said, you don't go to the national championship and get blown out by a team that has no pro players on their team. That's what happened to him in high school. Quinn Ewers started 2 years in a row, got hurt, came back, they went back to Ewers again. There's a reason why Arch Manning is sitting on the bench. His point was not that Arch Manning won't be a good quarterback. His point was that he is not a transcendent player and that a lot of people put more on him because of his name and what he's perceived to be than what his actual skill level at eye test is.
Paul Feinbaum.
Paul Feinbaum does that. When he made that point,
he called Arch Manning the best college player since Tim Tebow.
Tebow, yep, he did say that. That's wild. And I don't even like Tim Tebow like that. Which I think you saw. I think in that game you saw somebody that was like, hey, I'm just trying to figure this out. He looked scared. It looked like a really bad game. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback, but I think that game brought him back down to earth a lot more for me. Because I will say I was on the hype train, especially last year after watching his few games play. But after watching that game, it was like, yeah, there's a reason why he was still sitting on the bench even when Ewers was here. Because it wasn't like Quentin Ewers was amazing. He was just better than the alternative.
I think he was
solid.
He was solid.
Yeah. He was solid, but not like everybody thinks he's supposed to be the transcendent. Basically, they think he's supposed to be his uncle and like Peyton, and he's not, and he won't ever be.
I don't think he's Eli.
And that was made really clear. Yeah, I don't even think he's Eli.
He's a Cooper. He's definitely Cooper's son.
Yeah, he's Cooper's kid. I think he'll have a good college career, but he's not better than we are making him better than what he actually is. And I think that Texas team is really good. I think that defense kept them in the game a lot. I don't think that highly of Ohio State's quarterback like I thought in the offseason. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows what he is. Ohio State's defense looked good that game. I can't say, well, yeah, the defense was good, but I think Texas lost that game more than Ohio State went out and won that game, if that makes sense, in my opinion. And then if we're talking about Clemson, I told y'all I was not a believer in Cape Klubnik or whatever the fuck you want to call him. I don't like Clemson.
That's his name?
Clemson. Huh?
That's his name. You got it right.
Whatever. I don't think he's that good. I don't know why there's so much hype about him. He will be average this season. Clemson's defense looked decent. It looked okay. That will keep them in some games, but I don't think Klubnik is going to go down there and win Clemson a bunch of games. Yeah, he's not lighting my world on fire. That's for damn sure.
Ajack, what's your opinion?
I just get annoyed by some of these takes because, like, I don't respect Ryan Clark's take because, like, why didn't you say this before? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you think it's like
he's from,
That's fair. That's
at the end of the day,
very
he's
fair.
He's from Louisiana, so he knows what's 1A, what's 2A, what's 3A. He knows what low
he
class.
said that,
Louisiana.
and he said that though.
He said that before.
No, he said that in the entire take. If you watch the entire take, he said he made a comment about how he's always watched that school play. He's never really been impressed by it.
It's Newman, like, bro. Mind you, just because you went to that school doesn't mean you can't be a good football player. Odell went to that school.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's not what I'm saying. But like him just pulling out that tape because Arch looked bad. It's like, bro, like it's kind of like a low hanging. I feel like people are just going for like low hanging fruit right now. It's kind of like
this is my counter to what he not counter, but to what he truly said was he said that Arch Manning wasn't transcendent. He didn't say that he doesn't think that he won't be good.
Okay,
he just basically was like he'll be a good quarterback, but we're making him out to be way better than.
But that's the thing, like, don't say that because, bro, the thing about his take is that, like, bro, he had a bad game versus arguably probably the best team in the country. He can still be transcendent because transcendent players have bad games. Because like we watched that game, there wasn't 1 second in that game where I felt like Arch didn't belong on the field.
Oh well, no, okay, no.
He was like, bro, he was evading sacks. He was outrunning their freaks on defense. He was outrunning Sonny Styles. He was outrunning Artville Reese or whatever like that. Where it's like, oh yeah, like Arch is like we was talking with ourselves in the bar, like, yo, he's probably like definitely more athletic. He's probably like the most athletic in the family, like the way he looks.
Yeah.
He has more Archie to him than Peyton and Eli, and that's okay. Oh. And like he didn't look like he didn't belong. But my point is that like because people inside Texas were hyping him up. It wasn't just the media. Like Golden was like, Texas, yeah, it's like there's a because if you listen to Quinn Ewers talk about, he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to play for nobody else. If they would have like, yo, like we probably need you to stay, he would have stayed. He got pushed out. And yeah. I don't think Texas would have just been like, yeah, we'll just bet on this kid. We don't really, that we don't really think it's that good because he played 1A or 2A football in Louisiana. He's doing something good inside the building. So, but I just hate these type of takes, like you hype him up and then like Ryan Clark comes to like, yeah, you play, low end football. Like, what do you expect? I know that's not what he really said, but like he should have been said it. That's kind of like my point. Because like he of all people should know he's from there. He's been watching, like, you should have been said that. You should have, if he came out before, like, yeah, let's slow down on this Archie. I'll be like, yeah, bro, like that's cool, that's totally fine. But he didn't do that. He waited until he had a bad game to say it. But it is what I feel like Archie will be fine. I feel like he was nervous, and like you can say whatever you want to say about him being a third-year player, him being nervous in that environment, but it's at Ohio State. Like he never played in this. That's his first road game ever. Like I feel like any quarterback is going to be nervous in that type of in that type of set. And like y'all was there with me. I was saying, yeah, he sucks right now. Like I wasn't sugarcoating and anything. Like nah, he sucks. Like
no, he was not.
Yeah, it didn't look good. But like I'm not going to sit here and say like I didn't see some of his games last year, like, yeah, he looks like I totally understand why they was like, yeah, buy Quinn. I totally understand why, but hey, I think Ohio State's gonna be good. I do agree about the Ohio State quarterback. He didn't really impress me, but I don't think he really had to because Texas didn't really put no pressure on them to make a play, like for like the Ohio State offense to really make a play. Like they're like almost next to last in the country in explosive play rate, Ohio State, because they really didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like they just leaned on their run game, leaned on like the one bomb they had to Tate. So I feel like these are just two good teams that are gonna probably meet again in the playoffs or whatever like that. That's how I felt about it, and I feel like Arch is gonna be okay. He just had a bad game, so yeah. Oh yeah, another thing too. When your coach says, yeah, I had no idea what they were doing on defense, I'm going to give you some grace, bro. I'm going to give you some grace.
Wait, Sarkisian said that?
Yeah, Sarkisian was like, I had no idea. He was like, yeah, I was confused too.
There was big talk about Matt Patricia and how he prepared.
Matt Patricia whooped Sark's ass.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give, like, if your coach is saying like, yeah, I had no idea what they're running, I'm going to give you some grace, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you some grace.
There's really not much you can do after that.
Yeah, it's like, if your own coach is like, if your own coach doesn't even know what to, like, throws his hands up, like, yeah, bro, figure it out. It's kind of like, okay, it's like, what you gonna do? But yeah. Oh yeah, but with Clemson, LSU, like, that's one of the games where, like, I don't know if Clemson's gonna be good because it's like, I feel like I know, like, the box score and you look at the side by side stat, it tells like a different story. But actually watching the game, I feel like LSU was the way better team. That's what it felt. That's what it felt like watching the game to me. So I don't know about
significantly.
Fair.
Yeah, that's why I felt watching the game. Like,
Okay.
because like I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Clemson shut out. I think LSU shut out Clemson in the second half.
They did.
They didn't score.
They did. That's why I said that defense is significantly better. But I wasn't impressed by that offense.
Yeah, I think because like, see, I do think Clemson's defense got a little bit better. So I will give them that credit. But with LSU, I feel like they just made mistakes and they had like some dumb play calling at key points where, like, they could have put the game away. Like when they were just like throwing screen after screen after screen, they threw a screen they probably shouldn't have and they lost 5 yards and that just put them behind the stick. So and they just like play conservative. So it's kind of like they could have, put more points on the board. But it is what it is. But yeah, I just don't know about Clemson. But but I do think LSU is gonna have a couple bumps, then bounce back and then make a run. I think that this year's Ohio State. I talked to Philip about this, about how like Ohio State has some bumps, but they got together at the right time because they had a lot of transfers. Ohio State, and they is locked in. I think the same thing is going to happen with LSU, but the difference is they have a veteran quarterback that's been there a long time. So yeah.
All right. So what did you think after watching those two
Yeah,
games?
I'm having a hard time evaluating all 4 teams for different reasons. I want to go back to what was said about Ryan Clark's comment specifically from Austin. I 1,000% agree with you. I sometimes feel like Ryan Clark is trying to make headlines with the things that he says, especially when, as a football savant or somebody that should know the game really well, he probably has these things in his back pocket and chooses some very particular times to have the takes. We've been talking about Arch Manning all offseason, but now
Maybe
that
fishing for real.
now that he sucked his first game, you're ready to make headlines with your take on things. Like, I'm not saying he's not wrong, right? That it doesn't seem like he's transcended, but the times in which he chooses to say things, all that to say, when it came to Arch Manning, yeah, he had a bad game. I'm having a hard time evaluating both Texas and OSU as a whole because I didn't see the competitive, like when you want a top team, like a number or a top 5 team, you would think offensively that there would be some signs of like life or some signs of ability to make it past a certain level. And of course, we'll talk about those defenses and how good those defenses are. But I was really hoping to see some signs of like offensive proficiency or ability to score despite the circumstances, and that just didn't happen in the game. So I'm having a hard time. I do think, right, the defenses are good, right? When you have Matt Patricia scheming up how to stop a college quarterback, it's probably very different, and it's very effective. And so I think that they've proven themselves in those regards. But like, how to evaluate a team when offensively it doesn't seem like they are that productive. I think Jeremiah Smith had a bunch of drops that game, and it just didn't feel like, okay. Now again, I think Jeremiah Smith will go on and he'll end up having a great season, right? But when you're not able to do it against a worthy opponent, quote unquote worthy opponent like Texas, what does that say about your team overall? Same, very similar,
Back
but
to back years, Texas locked his ass up. By the way, go ahead.
what'd you say?
Back to back years, Texas has locked his ass up. By the way.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, when it really matters and you're going up against a defense that knows how to play defense against you, or a corner that's worth his salt, you got to be able to prove it. Um, going to LSU again. I'm not a big LSU fan. I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan, despite what I've texted you guys. And Clemson. I would have preferred Clemson winning personally, but to me, it's probably more of a cultural thing. I don't know if either of those teams really proved themselves beyond a shadow of a doubt. Because I do think when it comes into the meat of LSU's schedule, they'll probably drop a couple games and not look good for many games, especially if you're not able to get some offensive production on this end. And I think for Cade Klubnik, it has been way too long for you to have this starting position for you not to figure out a way to dominate. But I think that is giving over to the culture of Clemson where they're not just going to have a transfer come in and take over. Like people can feel a little bit more secure in their positions at Clemson, and that might lend itself to there being a lack of productivity that you kind of just are fine with because we're invested in them and we're not just going to use the transfer portal to get people in and out. So I think that's a bit of a double-edged sword where you get the players that you want, but that might not be able, and you get the culture that you want, but that might not mean that you're able to dominate. Do I think Clemson can still have a good season? For sure. I think they can still have a good season. Do I think LSU is going to have a great season? I'm not certain that LSU is going to have a great season by this win and by Clemson's loss. So that's kind of how I feel about the teams that none of the teams really like stood out to me, although the rankings will say something entirely different, but we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I just feel like there's opportunity for these teams to separate themselves this past Saturday that didn't happen, and that can still happen, but I just haven't been able to make that determination.
Sure. Well, I mean, we're going to learn a lot more about LSU in 2 weeks when they play Florida. So there's going to be that too. And that's going to be at Death Valley as well. So that's going to be what. So, but okay, I agree with y'all. There's very good points made. Now, as far as Ryan Clark, one counterpoint I will make. Do y'all think that ESPN kind of leans on him to not be as open as he can be? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, he lets their it seems like they like let like their like a fine bomb or whoever get their dumbass takes off and he just like sits back. Cause even today, um reporters who haven't played football got on today because like I think a reporter was going at him one time and Ryan Clark, yeah, that's like your non-football
Yeah.
self going at yourself. And at the end of the day, I feel like he was right in that assessment of what the dude was saying, but at the same time, as like you don't want the reality is about ESPN, just like nowadays, they don't want definitive takes because it's not good television. That's just the reality of it. Feinbaum saying he's the best QB, he's the best prospect since Tebow is good television because people are gonna click, 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 click. So yeah, I do feel like they were like, yeah, don't say this right now.
And that's the other thing when we play into these preseason rankings. Now that you have Texas, your Ohio States, your Clemson, right? Like, how do you play that up on ESPN with the pundits and the ridiculous things that they're going to say? And that I think that's part of the formula, right? So you might hold off maybe on a Ryan Clark saying something ridiculous, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you allow these other pundits to say ridiculous things for the
Saying there's
entire.
no muzzle. There's no muzzle on Pat McAfee. There's no muzzle on Paul Feinbaum. There's no muzzle on them. So
I wouldn't
I
necessarily
think that speaks to a
on
bigger
Ryan
issue.
Clark, but like, yeah, but it's also to me, yeah, I just feel like I don't know. It's the new media energy where you have a bunch of former players that aren't journalists going viral for saying for crazy takes when it's like this used to be dominant. Like I've been thinking about this a lot. Like I just miss Stuart Scott just giving us his takes and having swag to the game instead of you have Cam Newton and what's his name, Gilly the Kid, just going off on each other, and that being it feels like sportcast porn to me, and it's not like it's not good, it's not good
Not
quality.
real. It's not real. Like that's one thing that Coach Coop was saying. He's like, look, I have people, I know pundits, I know people who are in those type of areas. He said a lot of them they say things just to get clicks. He says like they don't even really believe it. They just do it to get clicks. And that's one thing that's like when we do this, I was like, look, I just want our real opinions. That's all I really care about.
Opinions,
Like
for sure.
so. All right, moving on to national topics to discuss. Shadeur Sanders. I've been wanting to talk about this since the draft. So since April, I've been wanting y'all opinions. Now, Josh, I know you have more a personal experience with him being as you were a counselor for Colorado's football team last year. But for me, I want to start this one off. because like I had such a problem with it. In my opinion, Shadeur Sanders was probably the most pro-ready quarterback in the draft last year. I think Cam Newton was the most talented quarterback. I think Shadeur Sanders with his footwork, with the way he saw the game, with the people he had worked with, being Tom Brady, some of the other quarterbacks, I think he was the most pro-ready when it came to it. But for him to drop to the 5th round, be the second quarterback taken by his own team, for me, it seemed like it was collusion on the part. And then for Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, and to make it very clear that he did not draft him. Like he was trying to tell the other owners, hey, don't come to me. It wasn't me. I did not draft this kid. Also, for me, I felt like that was very telling as well. But I want y'all opinions on this with the treatment of Shadeur Sanders. I'm going to start off with you, Josh, since you know him a little bit. And then go Nick, then go Ajack, then go Jay, with y'all opinions of what has happened with Shadeur Sanders and what happened. So, Josh, what do you think?
It's funny the things that ESPN doesn't pick up, because there was a report of Eric Dickerson saying that there was some form of collusion.
They were not going to. They know who butters their bread. Like ESPN is required. One thing I've learned in like me taking classes, ESPN is required to have some type of NFL type of segment every day. They have to find a way to incorporate the NFL in a show every day.
And
like they have to find something to do.
Right. So I think what happened to Shadeur was wrong. I think 9 times out of 10, you have a quarterback that has shown you what he's shown you, and you draft him as early as possible. I do think what's been and I don't know what the meetings were like the team meetings. I do think those meetings really separated a Jackson Dart from a Shadeur, all things considered. I don't think they separated a Luke Shuck from Shadeur. I think there are other quarterbacks that probably justifiably separated themselves from Shadeur, perhaps in the meetings. When at Colorado, I do think that there's a lot to say that Shadeur was being coached by his father and more or less was guaranteed the position no matter what. So not to say that he wasn't good, but to say with that comes a certain level of energy that I can have, or relaxation that I can have as a quarterback, where I don't feel rushed, or I don't feel the pressure, or I don't feel like my job is ever going to be in question. And that's from a recruiting standpoint. That's from like locker room standpoint. Not to even say that Shadeur took advantage of those all the time, but you could probably relax your shoulders a little bit. And I think within that, the game plan. Here's what I will say: I don't think Coach Prime is the X's and O's guy by any stretch of the imagination. And so when I think he's communicating with the offensive play callers, maybe specifically Pat Shurmur, he's asking him to dial it up for Shadeur. And that dial up might, and again, think about this. You have a Travis Hunter that's catching the ball. You have a LeJontay Wester. You have a Will Shepherd, Draylon Miller. You have all these weapons that you can just pass the ball to. Dan Orlovsky, he said something very insightful when he was evaluating for the first time in his life, when he was evaluating Shadeur Sanders. He said a lot of his passes were at or behind the line of scrimmage. And then the downfield passes were primarily to Travis, Jimmy Horn, Will Shepherd, and players like that. And that made the game very deceptive in how good Shadeur might have been, because Shadeur also displayed a lot of negative traits. For example, he holds on to the ball too long. That was proven in this preseason as well. He backs up, trying to make a play and ends up taking a big sack. And those things will hurt your team. That will hurt a drive. Legit. It will hurt a drive. So I'm having a hard time figuring out what was collusion and what was legit. I think he should have been drafted higher than the 5th for sure. Was that collusion? Perhaps. Was this were there legit concerns in his style of play that needed to be addressed? Also correct. I don't know, especially in those preseason games, if he did enough. So I'll say this. Dylan Gabriel, when he went in and played, looked very sharp when he played. He was very decisive, didn't take too many sacks, got the ball out, looked good. Shadeur also looked good, but I wouldn't say he was as, it was very much the same style of play in Colorado with its good sides and its bad sides. He's taking massive sacks, doesn't know how to throw the ball away, etc. So I can see where the Browns organization is like, we'll keep you on board, but you're going to be third string and you're going to have to figure it out and you're going to have to work through things. Should he be somebody's franchise quarterback? Probably. Should he be the the Browns franchise quarterback? Likely. I think. I don't, from my perspective, perhaps he could be and he should be. But is he doing enough to separate himself? And is he going to be able to have the learning? Is he going to be able to learn the game in a nuanced way where he's not doing those things? That's going to make him a starting quarterback. I think that has yet to be figured out. Although he could easily be somebody's starting quarterback and they take the good with the bad.
Sure. All right. Nick, what do you think?
What I think about Shadeur Sanders. So,
Go ahead.
When I first heard it, I was outraged. I was like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. He's had, from the eye test, he's done all of these things. He's put up these numbers. He's definitely very much a pro-ready quarterback. And then, I was completely baffled. I don't necessarily know if it was collusion that he dropped all the way to the 5th round, or what was it, 5th or 6th?
He dropped to the 5th.
But yeah, to the 5th round. But what I think a lot of outside factors had to do with why he fell so far. I think it had to do with people didn't like him. Not necessarily saying collusion, they just didn't like him. I think it also had to do a lot with how he wanted his contract structured, in the sense that, so the way that he has his contract structured is that he gets a significant percentage of his jersey sales that the team has to pay him. Whereas that's not the case for everybody that has that in their contract. For a lot of NFL players, they don't get a significant cut of their jersey sales. Because realistically, he was willing to take less money knowing that he was going to sell a bunch of jerseys just because if he's an icon. And then of itself, he's selling himself. So once I found that out, I didn't see a organization using a high draft pick and consequently having to pay him more because he was drafted higher, and then also having to pay him a lot on his back end for his jersey sales, which I guess everybody knew he was going to sell jerseys because his jersey's in the top 10 for jersey sales right now, right?
Yep.
So, but do I think he can play? Yes. Does he obviously need to clean up things in his game as far as holding on to the ball too long? Yes. All those things are very true. But at the end of the day, can the man throw the ball and put the ball where it's supposed to be? Yes. Should he have been drafted much higher based off of his film? Yes. Do I think that he's an NFL quarterback? I do. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but he definitely deserves a chance to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
All right.
So that's kind of my on the whole Shadeur thing.
All right. Ajack, what is your reaction?
I think I seen someone say, which is a very good point to me, that Shadeur's talent got him out the 2nd round and everything else dropped him to the 5th round. Because, I don't think he was, I still was surprised. I felt like, me personally, I felt like Shadeur was the 2nd best quarterback in the draft class, but I wasn't surprised if he dropped after the 1st round. So when Jackson Dart got picked, I was surprised. But I was like, all right, it's the Giants. They don't draft black quarterbacks. This is to be blunt. It's to be blunt here. They don't draft black quarterbacks. So that wasn't surprising. But when the Tyler Shaw pick happened, I was like, hey, yo. I was like, no way. I was like, yeah, no way. I was like,
this is for sure the first time in my
insanity.
life I watched
that was one of the worst picks I've seen in a long time. That was an awful pick. Awful pick. There's like no justification for that pick, honestly, in my
first time in my life. I'm watching the draft on a Saturday. I'd be like, yo, what's gonna happen? First time in my life.
So it's like,
I think Shadeur's talent got him out the first round. I don't feel like because I don't. To be honest, I feel like in a normal draft, I don't even think Cam Ward is not a normal number one pick. Like he's not. I think even as a Miami, I can be honest about that. So in like a normal draft,
it was a down year for quarterbacks.
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
probably like a late first round pick, to be blunt. Like in a normal draft, he probably goes to the Giants, Cam Ward, but he was still the first QB off the board, so he goes number one. So in a normal draft, George probably a second round pick, which is cool. So the fact that he went fifth round, and then Tyler Shaw, the seventh year player who has jumpy feet and an injury history that's ridiculous, goes ahead of Shadeur. I was like, yeah, something's going on. And then Dylan Gabriel got picked ahead of him, which admittedly, Dylan Gabriel looked better than him in preseason. But the reality is he got more run than him. Like he got more run than him in training camp. So it's like he's gonna look sharper. Like and then he's a third round pick. Shadeur's a fifth round pick, so he's gonna look sharper in these preseason games. And one thing I don't like about the reaction to Shadeur, when he has a great game, you see people say, "Well, yeah, slow down." But like when he has a bad game, it's like see. So it's like I don't like how I don't like the reaction to him. It's obvious he's not well liked to a certain degree to like certain people inside the NFL. So I thought it was BS. I didn't think it was about football why he dropped. And that's like my main issue is that like we see NFL teams draft players despite a lot of stuff. And the fact that like I heard a couple things that like coaches were scared that Prime's gonna take their job or something, some stupid stuff about why they didn't, and then or you're mad that he's gonna get money off his name. I'm just like that stuff is like, bro, y'all ignore so much stuff when it comes to charges and other weird stuff, behavior stuff. I don't know why they couldn't ignore like that, like just him having family ties. I don't know why they could ignore that. That's just my thing about it. Like you ignore as NFL, you ignore so much stuff to still draft a player. But and maybe Shadeur wasn't talented enough to ignore them stuff. And if that's like your real and that's like your real thought about Shadeur, cool. Because I understand that Shadeur is not the most talented, but it seemed like it wasn't even about that. So yeah.
Jay, what's your opinion?
During the draft, I just kept on thinking to myself, what did he do to make them niggas so mad?
Man.
Nah, I mean, I just think back to last college football season, and I'm watching Shadeur, and I'm watching Cam, and I'm comparing how they look, and I'm just looking at Shadeur throw a pass. He has such beautiful touch. When he throws the ball, and I'm watching him make incredible plays and incredible throws. And that type of quarterback play is not something I saw from the quarterbacks that got picked ahead of him. So it's weird. What was going on? I'm not sure if it's collusion. What Josh said was very enlightening to me, so it kind of changed my opinion a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, you still have to earn a job. You still have to play ball. Either way, you're still gonna be in a quarterback competition, no matter where you went. It wasn't gonna be handed to you in the NFL. So if he's really like that, it'll show. Somewhere will see it. So it is what it is right now.
All right. Oh, actually, very insightful points, gentlemen. I appreciate you. All right, so let's move on to the next point. Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, and Trey Hendrickson, lone bright spots on the teams being taken for granted or just business. Basically, what I'm talking about is the holdouts that we had, the high holdouts. Terry McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons, all three requested trades. Only Micah Parsons got traded. All of them got their deals done. Trey Hendrickson only got 1 year for $30 million. So in these three situations, what did y'all see as the common denominator? As for us, for me, I saw as one of the best players on each team being kind of taken for granted. But I wanted to get y'all opinions on that. Ajack, I'll start with you. What did you saw in these situations?
Same thing. I feel the same way I felt about. I just hate when teams don't pay their stars early, and then they get mad at the price point. I think Micah's like the only guy where it's like, yeah, he was up right now, and they didn't pay him right now. And even with the Micah Parsons, it seemed like it was just a dick measuring contest because Jerry Jones wanted to negotiate with him without his agent. So it's like that is like something like that is kind of like, yeah, like that's just petty and and very, how can I say, and very predatory as well. Like it's very
That
predatory.
was my thing, boy. Go ahead.
Very
Go ahead.
predatory. Very, very, very predatory. But with the Trey Hendrickson, that's just usual. Like you see how the Bengals do business. They do it very cheaply. They don't pay their stars for some weird reasons. And it's funny. And it's funny who they do pay. That's because they didn't hesitate to pay Joe Burrow or that. But that's like it's just weird who they choose to pay and not pay, and who they choose like to have this whole big thing with. Like it's a lot more negative than positive going on with the Bengals in terms of how they do business. But it's just like just pay your stars early, man. Like I know there's a risk with them getting hurt, but at the end of the day, like pay your stars early and you're gonna get a discount because the price is only gonna go up. It's not gonna go down. Like that's just the reality of things. So yeah.
Josh, what's your reaction?
Yeah, some commonalities, at least between Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parson. When JJ Watt got his contract, not I'm sorry, not JJ, TJ Watt, when he got his contract, it really reset the market. And as you said, as Austin said, if you it's gonna cost more down the line. I don't know if that really, I don't know how much that affected the Trey Hendrickson one because I didn't know if he was able to bring that same leverage that a Micah Parsons could bring. But I also what I've been noticing, or what I don't know if this has been happening and I just haven't noticed it, but it seems like a bargaining chip to almost say trade me, or let's get a deal work completed, and that kind of brings people to the table that wasn't there before. I don't know. I to me, I don't know if I trust Jerry Jones at all, but I don't know if I don't trust him when he says that there were people that were talking with Micah Parsons about his. I just don't know if I trust it. Um, but when you like threaten to like, yo, I'm ready to be out. That I think, or I'm not going to play. We're seeing a lot more in this day of player favorability when it comes to these situations where that's another tool, another leverage piece that they're able to say and withhold, look, I'm not going to play, or I'm not going to be content, or I'm not going to be happy until this gets sorted out. Or you can just trade me. And then people are like, oh, okay. When Terry McLaurin's like, yo, y'all, I'm requesting a trade. Oh, my bad. We didn't think you were that serious. Let's get together and hash out these numbers. It's
Right.
just
Yeah, bro, I hate that. I really do.
I'm noticing it for the first time. Yeah, I'm sure it's been a thing, but like this offseason, I was like, there have been a number of players that have had frustration with their contracts, despite the numbers that they're bringing in. And they've been like, no, just trade me. And then they're like, oh, you were serious when you're asking for a restructure. We'll restructure this right now. And to the organization's credit, they're getting it worked out instead of trading them like I feel like they would have in years past. Does that mean the player is happy? I don't know. I mean, they got a contract, but like I don't I don't know if that means that they're happy overall as much as they got
I mean,
paid and now they want
it
to
does.
compete.
Yeah, I got you. Well, no, I understand where you come from, but that's like, no, yeah, the players been doing it forever. I mean, that's how Miami got Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill wanted a new contract with the Chiefs. He said, trade me. They're like, okay, cool. They called his bluff and traded him. So, but
Yeah,
Nick, what's your
that's absolutely nothing new. My take on it, um, Jerry Jones is an idiot for letting Micah Parsons walk. He didn't really get much, in my opinion, for him. Um, I I don't understand why ownership. I don't understand why like that's like a next step in being like trading or contract negotiations, because that's all it is for me now at this point. I feel like it's been so prevalent that players are like, oh, okay, well, okay, well, go to the next is trade me. But at the end of the day, a team truly doesn't have to trade you. If I want to, it's up to them. Which is just like, I don't know. The whole thing is like, I wish more teams would be like Tennessee and just call motherfuckers bluff and be like, here. But I don't think that should have been the case of Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a transcendent talent. Possibly a Hall of Famer, barring any injury. He is a cornerstone in what I believe Dallas culture was at the time. It's obviously changed now because he's with Green Bay. We'll see what he does with Green Bay. But yeah, I mean, it really, for me, Jerry Jones trading Micah Parsons almost was like, Negro, you will never be bigger than the star or bigger than me type of situation, which is crazy because Jerry Jones has always had characters on his team. He's always, I mean, to a certain extent, especially when they were actually winning, he had characters on their team that took a lot of spotlight. So why is it now you don't want players that are bigger than the star, in my opinion? Which is, I don't really understand because, yeah, they kind of had Dak Prescott pull the same thing a few years ago where he was like, well, I guess he didn't request a trade, but he held out for however long he did. And then Jerry Jones finally paid him. But let's be honest, Jerry Jones or Dak Prescott's not bigger than the star. He doesn't have a personality like that people want to, that gravitate towards. So that wasn't, a real thing. But Micah Parsons being let go, I genuinely don't understand it from a Cowboys standpoint, except for Jerry Jones being like, I got the biggest balls in this state type situation. Go ahead.
I think you put the nail on the head there. I think it's another case of Jerry Jones saying, I'm the one that this is going to be based on, nobody else. I'm going to prove that I'm better than Jimmy Johnson. I'm going to prove all this. It's just, that's what I felt that the Netflix series was about. That's what I felt. Everything that he has done, he has tried to prove that I can build a team that without Jimmy Johnson's help, that can be a championship team. But I think the numbers speak for themselves. 5 years with Jimmy Johnson, 2 championships. 33 years without him, 1 championship. So I think the numbers kind of speak to themselves. It's obvious
you can't even say that 1 year without Jimmy because
Jimmy built that team. The only thing you added to it was Deion Sanders. So
exactly. Mm-hmm. So that was still Jimmy's team that he won that championship with.
Yeah, and like you hear the players talk about it, and you see Troy Aikman, who was a leader on that team. Like, I think the most telling thing about Jimmy Johnson's effect on the Cowboys is when Jimmy Johnson finally got his Hall of Fame, and Troy Aikman, who shows no emotion ever, even when he commentates. He's been the number 1 commentator in NFL for probably the last 20 years, never shows any emotion. He is boo-hoo crying when Jimmy Johnson got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Boo-hoo crying. Did he boo-hoo cry when Jerry Jones got inducted in the NFL? Then shed 1 tear. I just think that shows more to it. I think that burns Jerry Jones up. I think that he makes decisions based on his emotions more so than any so-called businessman should. I think you're right. I think Micah Parsons started to become bigger than the star. But the thing is, Micah Parsons said at the beginning of offseason, I will set the market. I will take less money to stay. For me, if someone tells you that they want to stay, if they are at the level that he is at, there's not anyone I could say is a better pass rusher than him. I can say people who are on his level, and then you sit there and you watch the other 3 or 4 defensive linemen get paid who are on his level because you fucked up, because you messed up and waited, the price is going to go up, like Austin said. I think Dallas mismanages. I mean, Cincinnati always mismanages, so I don't even really have to say anything about that. The Redskins, I can understand why you kind of hesitate with Terry McLaurin, but I'll say this: your offense is not going to be good without him. So, but also, like with football, they like.
No, I don't understand why they did that. I don't understand, but go ahead. I don't understand the.
I understand because it's like Terry McLaurin. What is it? It's his 5th year, right? Terry McLaurin.
No,
it's like his 7th year.
This is his second contract, so his second big contract. Like it was basically renegotiation to it. So I can understand.
Well, if I'm being honest, his first few years he was kind of a mid receiver.
So
he only
got 1,000 yards. He got that.
Bro, look at I get that, but I think
he is the most important weapon outside of James Daniels on that team.
Because I remember when Chris Carter
made it. I think
Chris Carter made a great point
from the organization standpoint where they're like, okay, let me see you prove it at least another season.
Now, at the end of the day, Nick, I think Chris Carter made a great point one time when he was like, he was renegotiating his contract when he was in Minnesota, and the owner was like, well, that's Michael Irvin money, and Chris Carter was like, all right, here's the phone, call Michael Irvin right now. He's not available. I'm the only one you fucking got. So pay me that money. Like, you don't have anybody else.
And which
So
is
like,
why
you don't have anybody else. Like
That's fair.
it's like is your number one like do you want your number one receiver to be Debo Samuel? Like Debo Samuel with his fat self?
Oh,
Like, and then,
I
like,
thought he was gonna have a resurgence. Then I saw those pictures and that video. I was like, oh no.
But no, I think that's why you can understand the Terry McLaurin situation with that. Micah, how Dallas approached this in every single way possible. It's like, this is not the old West. This is not you don't make handshake deals in 2025. What the fuck are you? I'm sorry, excuse my language. What the hell are you thinking, Jerry Jones? Like, for real.
I feel like they tried to play Micah Parsons as a fool.
They did. The thing is,
you expect
these
me to go in
players
this
are not
without my
fools.
agent?
These players are not fools. That's why they get agents. I mean, hell, Lamar Jackson was able to negotiate without an agent because he knows like what he's talking about, knows his own worth. Someone who does Bleacher Report, who has the take and the pull that Micah Parsons is, he understands his worth. For Jerry Jones thinking that he's smarter than him, he's going to outsmart this guy, is just foolish to me. And so, and now he's the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL history, as he should have been. Jerry Jones fumbled the ball on that. And then if they have a bad season, it's going to be on Jerry Jones if they come back. But that's the thing about it. You want all the credit, you have to take all the blame too. And I think that's something that Jerry Jones, I don't think, has been very good at. So
yeah, he gonna shift that blame. That's a fact.
Oh yeah,
he gonna shift that blame. That's a fact, man.
But to say, hey, we need to stop the run, and then give up 3 rushing touchdowns the very next game is just like kind of ludicrous.
Bro. You're blaming an edge rusher for not being able to stop the run.
Yeah.
Not the D tackles, not the linebackers, an edge rusher.
And you look at it, you have to look in the face, and he's serious. Is it like, also he's trying to play the Cowboys fans of fools, and I feel sorry for them. I looked at them, I asked them all, I'm like, hey, y'all think Mike's a good? I think no, man, Mike is not going anywhere. It's gonna get done. And the day after he gets traded, all of them come in so sad. It's like there was not one Micah Parsons jersey on in the entire restaurant last night. We got killed when the Cowboys were playing.
Oh, really?
Not one. Not one. There was an Amari Cooper jersey randomly, but there wasn't any Micah Parsons jersey.
I'm wearing this because my boy retired.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But bro, it's like you gotta I'll put it like this. My sympathy for Mavericks fans only goes so far, but first Luka, then Micah. I mean, there's something going on up there in Dallas.
That's hilarious, though.
Dallas is
So, what did y'all think about ESPN buying out NFL Network? The basically Disney buying out NFL Network. Is it just like an add to the evil empire?
Yeah, they're gonna ruin everything. Like they was gonna ruin it, like they ruin everything else. It's gonna ruin like they ruin everything else, man. Like,
we're gonna have.
They have a monopoly on media.
Yeah,
they really do. They have a monopoly on everything because they.
I'm not even that type of guy, but yeah, that's just bad. That's really bad.
But
it's ridiculous.
Nick makes a good point too. Disney owns Fox, so they have a stake in almost everything.
Almost nothing that they don't own, as far as media is concerned. They have their hand in almost at least every other organization as well.
It sounds like I should be shifting my career.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I mean, yeah.
That's wild.
And it also sounds like more SpongeBob games.
Oh God.
Which are hilarious, by the way. I can't lie. That's like,
all right, I just wanted to add just one thing because this kind of happened this week. I didn't put this on the thing, but I wanted to get y'all opinion. One, Austin as a Miami Heat fan, and Nick and Josh as those who are not Heat fans. Mark Cuban keeps poking that 2006 Miami Heat championship bear, saying that he feels like it was stolen from him. Can I get y'all up? And Dwayne Wade has responded and said, I really need you to stop doing this because in the end of the day, we won the championship. You did it. So that's basically what he said. I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly what he said, but he said something to that effect. Let me get y'all opinion. Let me get Ajack first, then Josh and Nick, then I'll get my opinion. Let me get y'all reaction to that.
My first,
Ajack, yeah, you go ahead.
Look, we hurt his feelings. When we won that, end of the day, like, It's just funny. It's just, bro, like I'm getting to an age where like I can finally like look back on stuff, and I don't look back at that game that I don't look back at those games like, man, like, D Wade got a whole like D Wade got all these free throws or whatever like that. I look at it like, damn, Dallas really choked that series away.
Yeah.
So it's like him to like blame. At the end of the day, like D Wade was getting fouled. Like no one on that Dallas team could guard him. So it's kind of like for him to come out and say that and not admit that fast, kind of like, yeah, you're still living in Lulu land. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't mind D Wade responding to him because at the end of the day, like that's D Wade's magnum opus. Like that's his stuff. So I don't really mind him responding to it. But hey, it is what it is. Like he's mad about it. He's all like so that's something he's always gonna be mad about. And like it's kind of hard to understand it too because like bro, like you got one off us. That was kind of like even more impressive than 2006 would have been. You upset us. I don't really know why you still mad about it.
All right, Josh, let me get your opinion.
Honestly, I don't know why he's mad about it either. He got his lick back against probably a better Miami Heat team with LeBron James and Chris Bosh added to the mix. So does that further solidify Dirk as one of the greatest of all time? Does that give who was on that team?
It was Jason Terry, it was Jason Kidd on that team. Dirk was by far the way.
Jason Kidd was playing on that team. Sure, like
Tyson Chandler was on that team.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the 06. I'm talking about the 06 team.
Oh, the 06 team? Oh no, Kim wasn't on that team. It was just Jason Terry, Josh Howard, Jerry Stackhouse was on that team.
Yes. You have won? Probably. I don't know why you didn't, especially. Did they have a 2-0 lead?
They had 2-0 lead.
Yeah, they had a 2-0 lead.
Oh, I'll tell you why they lost in my response, but go ahead.
But to me, I'm like, that's fine. But can you got back, played not the same Heat team, but the same franchise, won, and solidified many people's careers. To me, I feel like that's worth it. And I don't see why you're complaining. I don't understand. He's not even, I don't know.
The way would actually say that to an effect too. He's like, y'all got 11, so I don't understand what the issue is.
But yeah, like you'll be great. You'll be fine. Dallas, you guys are on the. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you, Mark Cuban? You're a billionaire. I don't know why you're still. You should be billionaire. We move forward, my friend. Move forward, not backwards. It's okay.
It will set you free. It will set you free.
I regret championships I didn't win as well. All right, but I moved forward. If I was stuck in the past, I don't, and I have less money than you, so I don't know what to do. I'm moving forward.
All right, Nick.
I don't know why he's bringing it up. It makes zero sense to me. That team was not. Josh is right, or when he says that the Miami team that they beat in 2011 was a better team than the one in 06. But my thing is, Dallas, you guys weren't good enough to get the job done. You weren't. You couldn't stop Dwayne Wade. You had no answer for that. I mean, what were you robbed of? Because last time I checked, they showed up and played their 4 games. Or the series went 6.
Series went 6.
They should. Dwayne Wade and that team showed up and won their 4 games that they needed to. Mark Cuban, you guys showed up and didn't win the 4 games. It's as simple as that. And also, I was a big Dirk hater back then. I thought he was soft, and I thought he was soft in that series too. I thought he was soft in the championship series. What I didn't think he was soft in was the 2011 one they won, which is probably why that was the most respect I ever had for him. Dirk was not. It wasn't ready at that point in time. I also remember not thinking that the Mavericks shouldn't even have been in the conference finals that year. That was a down year for the West. So I don't. Literally, the discussion is, why are you bringing up old shit? That's literally the first thing that comes to my mind.
This is literally going to be the 20th year anniversary of that series.
It's almost
insane,
my nigga. Like, let's move on, bro.
Like, you bringing up old shit. It was over 20-something years ago. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
No. Literally 20 years ago. Like
Literally.
at the end of
20 years ago.
at the end of this basketball season,
Yeah,
this
anniversary.
upcoming year, it's gonna be 20 years. You gotta let
20
it go.
years. Like, why are we talking about
You gotta
old
let it
shit?
go.
Maybe
I mean, I'll say this. I was surprised that it got brought up again. Now, I've gone to Mavericks games as a Heat fan, and they look at me with disgust. Like,
But no.
like,
I to my understanding, like the Maverick, because you know I'd be on Twitter and stuff like that. The Heat are super hated in Mavericks Twitter. Like I thought it's like bygones be. I got 2011. It's like yeah, like it's whatever. Like it's like we even now, but nah. Like they really hold that 06 championship on some like they really genuinely think that thing was rigged.
No, they hate
really
us.
think that.
really.
They hate us. But I actually rewatch that series every now and then because like I got to look bad because of all that since I live here now in this area and I hear so much about it. I'm like, okay, look, let me look back at this series. I watched all 6 games. And in the grand scheme of things, the reason why Miami won that series because like they said no one could guard Dwayne Wade. And in clutch moments, Dirk came up small. Dirk could have taken the lead in game 3 with free throws. First off, they blew a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter. You don't deserve to win that game either.
In game 3,
and then he could have won with free throws in the third game. Missed them. So that's the reason why you lose that game. Game 4, they just got blown out. Game 5, down the stretch still. Like Dirk actually made a couple of big shots and made some big free throws then, but they didn't stop Dwayne Wade down the stretch. He was able to get wherever he wanted to go on the court. Was able to tie the game in regulation, and then was able to get to get to where he needed in the overtime to get fouled, and he was fouled. He was hacked across the head. And so, I mean, 25 free throws that's ridiculous. I'll give you that. But at the same time, I'm sitting there watching.
I couldn't guard him.
Yeah, they just couldn't. Like that's what they started grabbing at him. Devin Harris was basically just grabbing that air. It was like first off, if you put Devin Harris on Dwayne Wade, you deserve what you get.
That's food.
So that's that more harder too.
That's cooked food.
And also too, the second biggest point, your best player in that series was Jason Terry. Your best player wasn't your best player. So usually you're gonna lose series like that. And you know why Miami lost in 2011? As great as Dwayne Wade is, Dwayne Wade was Miami's best player in that series, and
that shouldn't have been the case. To your point, it shouldn't have been the case. Dwayne Wade should not have been Miami's best player.
Yeah,
and
that's great,
bro.
And,
if Bron is
just
averaged that series, we win. But he wasn't. He was disgusting.
I think you're spot on, at least from that seems right to me. I've there was something else that I want to go back to perhaps if Dallas wins that series and that championship, how do we regard Dwayne Wade and Shaq and their legacies now?
With Miami?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Shaq's legacy, I think, maybe takes a little bit of a dip, but not much because his best games are still in LA, and he's still, it's still his dominant, and still there's no one as dominant. There's not really as much of a dominant streak outside of Michael Jordan than what he did with LA. But what do you say is that he couldn't win without Kobe. So that becomes a much bigger dig on him because we're assuming in this reality, Kobe still wins his championships. So Kobe still takes
out the same. Everything plays out the same.
So yeah, Kobe still takes his step away from him. In which I think in a lot of ways people think Kobe is better than Shaq because he's able to win 2 championships without him taking steps. There's still people who rank Shaq ahead of Kobe, and you can't say that. But I think they just take their steps away from. I think Kobe just is a bit further down from him, like there's more of a chasm when it comes between their games and how you look at it. I think that's really what it is. Dwayne Wade is you just can't say you can't talk about how he's the youngest Finals MVP ever. You can't really say that he's the third best shooting guard ever because instead of 3 championships, he only has 2. And he couldn't do it as a primary, and he couldn't do one as the primary player. That's what
he's in Harden's office.
Yeah, but also too, really, if he doesn't do that, then LeBron and Chris Bosh they're not really convinced to come join him in Miami.
Good point.
Maybe Dwayne Wade is more convinced to go visit and go join him somewhere else.
I mean, because the story keeps changing, but like Dwayne Wade was prepared to leave Miami that year. It seems like in 2010 offseason.
I mean, when you look back at the way he was talking, I was 50-50 on Dwayne Wade that year. I wasn't sure if he was going to come back. I knew it was going to take. Once I saw Chris Bosh there, I was like, okay, all right, cool, we're good. Dwayne Wade's thing. But if Miami was able to get help, Yeah, Miami wasn't able to hit him. No, I thought Dwayne Wade was going to be gone, and I think it's much more likely to happen if they don't win in 06. I think a lot of things change in that way, but I also agree with Nick. I don't think that looking back at that Mavericks team, it really wasn't better than that Heat team. And when you really look at it, now Miami, that Heat team was old, and that's how they were able. That's how they kind of imploded the next year. But it had more talent. Gary Payton, Antoine Walker, White Chocolate, James Posey, and like like
That team was
had more
bad.
talent. Yeah, it had more talent. So I
There
mean,
was
I
so
think,
much depth.
and I just think, I think in the end, when it came to Miami just executed better down the clutch. Those first two games were not clutch games either. Like Dallas was able to kind of extend those leads, but Miami made it close 3 of those other 4 games, and Miami executed better. Udonis Haslem had probably the biggest play of getting the offensive rebound and getting fouled in that deciding game. He hits those 2 free throws to put him out. He did something that Dirk didn't do. He was able to, I'm just being real. He did something that Dirk did not do in that series. He was able to hit his free throws, and he was able to get big rebounds and extend that lead. Like, even Hugh Brown said, it's like he didn't celebrate. He's like, oh, that young man was in the right place at the right time. Like, Haslam made the play, and that's why he goes down in Heat history as well. So I think you don't have as strong as argument for Dwayne Wade being the 3rd best shooting guard of all time. And also, I don't think the Heat will get together. So,
I think there is something to say in the history of that 03 class that Dwayne Wade was the first one to get a chip before Bron, of course, before Darko Milicic, and before Chris Bosh and many other great players that came out of it. That to me, not that it became a question not that it became a point that Dwayne Wade was better than LeBron, but it meant something that this guy was able to get it done a lot sooner than who we deemed or who we called the chosen one. And that
also, I think it spoke to the level of organization and what it meant. And I talk about being solid from top to bottom.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland's failure in the first term of LeBron being there is they just, no matter what they did, it just I don't think they were solid from top to bottom. I think this really speaks into how they've only kept GMs for their contracts. They never extended them. Like Miami hasn't really changed the organizational structure in about 25 years. And you can see that's how you're able to sustain teams like that. Now, I think it's coming back to bite Miami a little bit now. I think they need a little bit of fresh blood now.
They suck now, so I don't know about that one, Phil.
It's a double-edged sword, right?
It is, but I mean, you get old and things happen, things change. But 15 years ago, I think that was Miami's biggest strength, that they had a strong organization. Now, Miami's strong at coach and everything like that. I think Pat Riley should still be a part of it, but I think they need some new blood. I think they need to put like Dwayne Wade, Udonis Haslem. And the thing is, even with that, you're still keeping it within the Heat family, but I think these are places in organization. Okay. So if I was Heat, I would try to get him the shares of Utah and then come back and buy a piece of the Heat. I know Udonis Haslem wants that too, but that's just me. But anything else to add about that, gentlemen?
That's all I have.
But yeah,
that's all I got.
Because what's crazy to me is like the Heat fans we don't really hate Dirk or anything like that. We after 2011 we expect them, but Mavericks fans hate Dwayne. They can't stand him.
I just think Dirk was an all-time choke artist. I don't dislike him as a person at all.
Yeah. I thought he was soft, but I think in 2011 he stepped up, so it made my opinion more. I didn't like him after that series the way they talked about it, but I let it go. Once bygones are bygones. But all right, gentlemen, thank y'all so much for joining us. Jay had to leave early, unfortunately, so I will say goodbye for him. But for my regular correspondence, Ajack, thanks so much for coming in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nick.
Go Noles, baby.
And Joshua Salt, thanks so much for joining us today.
Go Noles and T-Mac for life.
We will see y'all next time. We'll try to have this out by the weekend. Love you guys. Off 199 is out.